Chapter 587. The blade of black sand could change its form. Not long after it entered Gui's body, it fused with it and turned into a set of black armor. Sister Yu and the others were pleasantly surprised to see the Sky Devil True Lord being killed. One of the sect's experts applauded. Good kill. Such a big shot. Saintus, he's so strong. He can easily kill a winged transformation realm big shot as a second stage tribulation. No wonder the sect leader thinks so highly of him. This time, we're going to deal with the great Emperor Dipper. He'll definitely help us. He was the one who went to the raging inferno purgatory to save people, right? The sect leader and Saintus also helped him in the mortal emperor world. He was surrounded by countless experts from the Xinyuan Empire and obtained the mortal emperor world's realm master's inheritance. The younger generation will surpass us in time. We've lived for countless years, but it won't be long before the younger generation surpasses us. The other sect leaders were also amazed by Su Fang's ability, killing people of a higher realm. Only then could he be considered a powerhouse who could kill countless powerhouses who were stronger than him. The hundreds of captured winged transformation realm experts all lowered their heads when they saw the Sky Devil True Lord being killed. They lost all hope. Li Ziqing, Sister Yu, and Li Haojia slowly descended on the collapsing mountain. Sister Yu pointed at Su Fang. After thinking about it, I feel that the experts of the minor Sky Devil sect can't be casually killed. You want to establish a faction and just happen to lack people. Of course, you can't take in these demons, but you can use them as slaves. They'll be of great help to you. Su Fang looked at Sister Yu in surprise. You're giving me so many experts? From your tone and gaze, do you think I can't bear to part with them? I just didn't expect. You don't have the experience of establishing a faction, but Senior Li and I do. Although the minor Sky Devil sect is only a second-rate sect, they still have many experts. It's a pity to kill them. Wing Transformation Realm experts are the foundation of any faction, and it's the same in my sect. Moreover, you can control demonic chi, so you can suppress these people and keep them for yourself. Sometimes it's easy to kill people, but difficult to keep them. I appreciate your gift, so I'll accept it. He admired Sister Yu, as expected of the holy maiden of the Five Poison Divine sect. Suddenly, he understood why a woman could become the most powerful person in the Five Poison Divine sect other than the sect master. She was not as simple and weak as she looked. He had lived for more than 100,000 years, so he had many tricks up his sleeves. Under the control of the divine sect's experts, Su Fang used the true devil blood plate as a primer to condense his own primordial spirit seal. Coupled with his special genuine chi, he planted restrictions in the bodies of the minor Sky Devil sect's experts. With the restriction, Su Fang could easily control them. Once the restriction was broken, everyone's yang souls would instantly shatter and they would lose their lives. Everyone heed my orders. Immediately head to the city ahead, as well as the strongholds previously guarded by the minor Heavenly Devil sect. Take complete control of minor Heavenly Devil Island and chase away all foreign cultivators. Say that the minor Heavenly Devil sect has changed its name to the Heaven Crossing sect. Once the Tao right has been rebuilt, we'll open it to the outside world. There were a total of more than 200 feather transformation realm fighters. After taking control of these experts, he gave them orders. For example, immediately return to the cities controlled by the minor Heavenly Devil sect and take control of the situation, as well as other key points of the island. They couldn't let the foreign cultivators take advantage of this situation. He also let them take this opportunity to spread the news of the establishment of the Heaven Crossing sect. He also gave them a lot of aphrodisiac pills and gave them to the foreign cultivators for free. It could also be considered an opportunity to advertise. After doing this, Sister Yu helped Su Fang begin to rebuild the Tao Rights Barrier, the Heaven Crossing sect. This was the force that Su Fang wanted to establish. The entire Tao Rights Barrier naturally had to be rebuilt. With the help of Li Ziqing, Sister Yu, and the others, not only was it not difficult, but after the reconstruction, it would also become a first-rate force. Su Fang was mainly responsible for the reconstruction of the Tao Rights interior. Many stone castles were left untouched. They used earth-type magical powers to encircle some mountain ranges and forests, establishing earth-type barriers. Then, they fused some illusory formations from the 8-origin spiritual elephant formation into many barriers, making the internal formations look like they had countless large spaces. Not long after, more than 100,000 foreign cultivators were chased away from minor Heavenly Devil Island. The island's entire barrier also began to change. The demonic chi disappeared, and in its place was a natural spiritual chi barrier from the righteous Tao. About a year later, the Tao Rights barrier was completely rebuilt. For the experts of the demonic sect, it was not easy to build a Tao Rights barrier in a year. Sister Yu was very cautious. She still had experts carefully patrol the island. As long as there were areas that needed improvement, they would be carefully repaired. In the end, Li Ziqing condensed a large number of runes to control the entire Tao Rights formation and handed them to Su Fong. In this way, it would be much easier for Su Fong to control the new Tao Right. They just had to fuse the formation runes. With the help of the powerhouse, no matter how difficult it would be easily solved in a short time. This made Su Fong realize for the first time the benefits of having a faction and allies. When he first seized the mortal Emperor World's inheritance, he didn't feel that it was very strong. Now, from the time he established the Heaven Crossing Party, from attacking the minor Heavenly Devil sect to rebuilding the Tao Right, it had only taken him a year. If he had done it alone, it would have taken him at least 100 years. Killing and suppressing a large number of minor Heavenly Devil sect disciples would consume a portion of his energy. He also had to recuperate and cultivate. The most time-consuming thing was building the Tao Rights barrier. How many years would it take him alone to control such a huge island? 100 years was a number that he had no confidence in. Fortunately, I handle my relationship with the 5 Poison Divine sect carefully. That's why I have today's harvest. It's no doubt a daydream if I want to establish a force in the spiritual mist world by myself. It's not enough to have just one ally. The powerhouse from the Heavenly Dipper realm, Mu Chun. Even Great Elder Xiao Yun couldn't resist his aura. Heartless Granny could only stare at him, yet she still dares to be so arrogant. If Mu Chun can become my ally, wouldn't it be possible to deal with the Green Lotus Sword sect and the Xinyuan Empire in the future? You're thinking too much. The feeling that Mu Chun gives me is that he's not a powerhouse who's greedy for a small world. Such a person can only become a supreme expert by ascending. Only the challenge of a great world can arouse his interest. I have to deal with the troubles around me as soon as possible. I'll go and see how amazing the changes will be after Sister Bai obtains the King of Chaos's inheritance. In the following days, Su Fong was very busy. This was also an internal matter that Sister Yu and the powerhouses of the Divine Sect could not interfere with. For the time being, the powerhouses of the Divine Sect were overseeing the minor Heavenly Devil Island. Su Fong built a group of palaces in the depths of the training ground. Using the Earth Element's superpower, which contained its divine power, he rebuilt a mountain from the ruins. At the peak of the mountain, there were palaces. For the time being, this was the central training ground of the Sky Crossing sect. At this time, in a square at the peak of the mountain, more than 200 feather transformation realm powerhouses were waiting for orders. When Su Fong came out of the main hall, he brought nearly 1,000 servants with him. They were Gu Shizhen, Lord Highness, Luan Mo, Mo Feng Jun, Feng Xingzhen, Zhou Zuifeng, Xiao Ling, Peng Yanjin, Gao Cheng, Wu Wei, and other familiar faces. Although these people's cultivation was not high, they were all experts in alchemy. In fact, the Sky Crossing sect had to rely on them for alchemy. Everyone gathered in the square and summoned a sky, snow, flying raccoon. Su Fong sat on top of it and said, "This is no longer the Little Sky Demon sect, but the Sky Crossing sect. You powerhouses used to follow the Heavenly Demon True Lord, but you didn't become peerless experts. However, if you become a member of the Sky Crossing sect, your future will be limitless. I can let each of you become a supreme, true demon, which is the power that demonic cultivators like you desire." You, Suddenly, with a thought, a primordial spirit exploded and grabbed an expert who was at the 4th level of the feather transformation realm. The powerhouse was frightened. Master. Su Fong flicked his finger, and a formless hand grabbed the powerhouse's head. Blood of a true demon. Bang! A drop of blood wrapped in demonic energy dripped onto the powerhouse's head. Bang! In front of more than 1,000 people. The powerhouse's body exploded, and he screamed in pain. However, during this process, a demonic horn gradually grew on his head, and his body emitted a shocking demonic flame. He looked like a completely different person. His ears straightened, his horns grew, and his eyes were filled with ruthlessness. His ferocious appearance made the 200 powerhouses go crazy. A true demon. A supreme, true demon. In less than half an hour, Su Fong was like the creator, omnipotent. He turned an ordinary powerhouse of the demonic path into a supreme, true demon. This was a physique that only the heavenly demon true lord had. Because of his identity as a supreme, true demon, the heavenly demon true lord could establish a force on the minor heavenly demon island. The powerhouse who had turned into a supreme, true demon trembled as he knelt down. Master, your fortune fills the heavens. The remaining feather transformation realm powerhouses all knelt to Su Fong. Master, we are willing to serve Master for eternity. We hope that Master will bestow us with the blood of a true demon and turn us into an indestructible, true demon. How can it be so simple to obtain the blood of a true demon? In this world, there must be a price to pay for everything. I have the blood of a true demon, and I also have the heavenly demon scripture that all of you want. Do you want it? Do you want to become a supreme, true demon? Do you want to cultivate the heavenly demon scripture? If you want to, then serve me. Begin bitterly cultivating your alchemy skills. Once you've made contributions, you'll be able to expand the Heaven Crossing sect. Becoming a supreme, true devil wouldn't be difficult at all. I'll even bring you into the outside world to become the legendary heavenly devils. Su Fong's eyes contained the power of a great circle cultivator. Therefore, when he looked at the 200 powerhouses, each of his eyes was cold and deep, as if he could see the depths of their hearts. Moreover, every word he spoke was filled with an irresistible demonic sound to the big shots, causing them to be bewitched, making them yearn to become that expert who had been enlightened into a true demon. Submit. Their shackled souls were once again implanted with a desire for the supreme, true demon by demonic sound, making Su Fong their only hope of survival. First, the Supreme Devil King and Luan Mo used their true demon state and released their Yang nascent souls. They taught the refining process of the Yang strengthening pill to each powerhouse on the spot. The sight of the 2 Devil Dao cultivators who were only at the tribulation stage, becoming supreme, true devils, drew the attention of many powerful beings once again. This kind of pursuit of power had long since devoured their minds. It was forever planted in their hearts, impossible to get rid of. It was much easier for a supreme devil to pass on techniques to another supreme devil. As for the laws and detailed rules of the Sky Crossing sect, Su Fong handed them over to Gu Shizhan. His experience in the Green Lotus Sword sect, combined with some of the experience left behind by the Minor Sky Devil sect, could be used in the Sky Crossing sect. As for the other servants, they had already begun to enter the palaces to refine the Yang strengthening pill. Inside the main hall, there were only a few people: Sister Yu, Li Zuqing, Li Haojia, and Su Fong. The last person was the 4th level Feather Transformation Realm powerhouse, who had become a supreme, true demon. He knelt down and answered loyally, Master, your subordinate is Wang Zhong. I used to be an elder of the heavenly devil true lord. Good. You used to be an elder, and now you are the first elder of the Sky Crossing sect. Remember, I can turn you into a supreme true demon, but I can also send you to hell in an instant. You are very familiar with the surroundings. Go and see if the other powers want to take advantage of the Sky Crossing sect. Yes, Wang Zhong, who had become a supreme true demon, immediately left. Chapter 588. Not long after the establishment of the Sky Crossing sect, under the teachings of the Supreme Demon King and Luan Mo, more than 200 feather transformation realm experts began to master alchemy. They were in charge of refining impotence pills for the catastrophe and feather transformation realms. To refine high-grade pills, they needed high-grade cauldrons and other resources. Su Fong took out many resources from before, such as the ice spring spirit water collected in the forbidden snowy forest and many other spiritual items to refine high-grade impotence pills. In less than 3 months, more than 200 experts could refine impotence pills for the feather transformation realm by themselves. Su Fong also ordered Gu Shizhen to hide his identity and go to the rich continent to buy high-grade and king-grade cauldrons. The others continued to refine impotence pills on the Little Sky Devil Island. On this day, Su Fong came to visit Sister Yu. In fact, he was mainly here to inquire about the whereabouts of the Great Emperor Dipper. Sister Yu and the God Sect's experts helped a lot, so Su Fong also had to pay attention to the God Sect. Sister Yu said, "The Great Emperor Dipper is still making preparations in the immortal primordial domain, Doichi. I think something big will happen in the Zhuotian domain. Didn't you say you know his purpose?" In the past, there was a venerable Tao disciple in the Celestial Sealing sect called Prince Shui. Perhaps Sister Yu has heard of this person. He secretly walked together with the Great Emperor Dipper. The Great Emperor Dipper helped him reach the feather transformation realm not long ago. Instead, he was very enthusiastic to help Prince Shui return to the Zhuotian domain and help him refine the heavenly gourd spirit tree. I've heard of Prince Shui. I heard he was a handsome young master who used the Great Emperor Dipper as an ambitious person. Master went to the Zhuotian domain and saw this spirit tree. He wanted to refine it into a treasure, but he said that the heavenly gourd domain was not simple, so he gave up. The Great Emperor Dipper was so kind to nurture Prince Shui. There are no warm-hearted good people in this world. Sister Yu wants to know what the Great Emperor Dipper is planning. The Xinyuan Empire has never done anything without benefits. When I was in the Xinyuan Empire, I made use of the pawns I planted around the Great Emperor Dipper and accidentally found out about the Xinyuan Empire. I really wanted to obtain the Xinjia Gate. It's that mysterious Tao artifact that fell into a minor world and caused countless minor worlds to tremble. It is the Xinjia Gate. Back then, Master went to the Zhuotian realm for the sake of the Xinjia Gate. According to Master, when the Xinjia Gate descended into the small world, it caused a huge galactic storm and tremor. After falling into the Zhuotian realm, countless experts rushed over to snatch the treasure, but they were all rejected by the Zhuotian realm's realm master. That realm master did not hesitate to seal the entire planet, not allowing foreign cultivators to take a single step in. For the sake of a Tao artifact, he sealed a small world. Later on, I reckon that even the Zhuotian realm master was unable to collect the Xinjia Gate. It was impossible for him to shackle the Zhuotian realm forever. In the end, he removed the shackles, and many experts rushed over to take a look at the Xinjia Gate. However, many people went in, and I heard that none of them came out alive. After Sister Yu sighed, she couldn't help but worry. The Xinyuan Empire has the support of immortals behind them, and they control 2 Tao artifacts. Now, they're so confident about the Xinjia Gate. Could it be that they have some confidence in obtaining the Xinjia Gate? Su Fong was unable to answer this point. Sister Yu continued, the Xinyuan Empire is too ambitious. First, they have schemed for tens of thousands of years to obtain the inheritance of the human emperor world. Now, they are plotting for the Xinjia Gate. If they really obtain the Xinjia Gate, who in this small world can stop their footsteps? Su Fong held his breath and asked, "Oh right, how is the situation in the human emperor world recently? Ever since I returned to the Zhuotian realm, I have been plagued by troubles. Don't worry. Master has always sent spies to hide around the human emperor world. The Xinyuan Empire has spent a lot of effort in Tao artifacts. It will probably take more than 1,000 years to help the third prince become the realm master. The only thing Master is worried about now is that if the Xinyuan Empire takes drastic measures, you will suffer a huge loss." Drastic measures. Could it be that the Xinyuan Empire wants to do something? Sister Yu nodded. Master is worried that they will lose the inheritance of the human Emperor World Master. In the end, in a rage, they will help the third prince endlessly destroy the human Emperor World, excavate spirit veins, mine veins, and search for the source energy. Then, they will destroy the entire planet from the inside. At that time, when you fuse with the human Emperor World, only a dilapidated planet will be left. Then, it will be meaningless for you to become the realm master of the human Emperor World. How is this drastic measures? This is clearly a desperate move. They are bullying me because I don't have time. Is the human Emperor World more important than me? Shouldn't I be wasting my time here? Don't be anxious. This is only Master's worry. At least for now, the Xinyuan Empire won't do this. They are too arrogant and think that they will definitely obtain the human Emperor World. They won't easily destroy the human Emperor World. Once they destroy it, won't their tens of thousands of years of hard work go down the drain? This is mutual. They're sure that they can't obtain the human Emperor World, so they will destroy it. As for how to be sure, you will have to wait until you are strong enough to fuse with the human Emperor World source energy and become an even stronger realm master. Then, you will be able to control the power of a small world and chase them out of the human Emperor World. I will probably have to wait until I step into the Ascension realm. Your talent is so shocking. It is incredible. In just 100 years, you will be able to step into the catastrophe realm, which others need thousands of years to do. Can't you wait 100 years? At least I am 100% sure that the Xinyuan Empire will have the patience to wait 1,000 years. According to Sister Yu's words, Su Fong understood. At least for now, he didn't have to worry about the human Emperor World. He also didn't have to rush back to the human Emperor World to absorb more source energy and become a stronger realm master. In fact, the reason why he didn't go to the human Emperor World now was that he was too weak. Once he stepped into the human Emperor World, not only would the absorption of source energy be slow, but he would also be hunted down by the Xinyuan Empire. Could he fuse with the human Emperor World in a short time? If that was the case, it would be better to leave the human Emperor World and get rid of the Xinyuan Empire. Once he was strong enough, he would have a better chance of returning. This was also the reason why he had returned to the Zhuotian world after fusing with the human Emperor's inheritance. Buzz! Just as they were talking, a rune exploded in his body. Taking it out, Wang Zhong's consciousness suddenly appeared in the rune. Master, this is bad. The Yin dynasty is gathering an army to attack. Su Fong was stunned, and his killing intent surged. What's the origin of a Yin dynasty? This is a first-rate faction established in the richly fertile continent. Later on, it gradually spread to the periphery of the richly fertile continent and the other continents of the spirit mist world. There are also factions of the Yin dynasty. They are mainly merchants and run by family clans. Their surname is Wang. Speaking of which, I am also considered a member of the Yin dynasty. It's just that they don't recognize me, a demon Dao cultivator. How many people did they send? They occupy the floating cloud island not far from the Little Sky Devil sect. It's estimated that they have a history of more than 5,000 years. They recruit experts there and set up a trading city. When they heard that the Little Sky Devil Island was moving, they sent more than 10,000 experts to attack. What's more troublesome is that I just found out that the other factions near the Little Sky Devil Island heard that the Yin dynasty's floating cloud island was moving. They're also getting restless and want to fight with the Yin dynasty. It's okay. You have done well. When you return, I will reward you with the first level of the Heavenly Demon Book. Continue to monitor. Putting away the rune, Su Fong was as cold as an ice sculpture. He was using his wisdom to figure out how to get out of this predicament. There were many factions around the abundant lush continent. Some of them belonged to the Little Sky Devil sect, while others were controlled by other factions from the abundant lush continent. For example, the floating cloud island. If they could not suppress it, it would be impossible for them to gain a foothold on the Little Sky Devil Island. Sister Yu asked curiously, "What do you plan to do?" "Naturally, we will use our strength to speak. I feel that we should shoot the bird that sticks out." The Yin dynasty was the first powerful enemy to spy on our Heaven Crossing sect. Then, I will focus on them and use a show of strength to scare the tiger. I will eliminate the experts on the floating cloud island. Then, the other factions will not dare to casually attack us. This is a good move. What a good show of strength. Furthermore, I have an even better move to complete the show of strength. Is that so? Sister Yu suddenly wanted to know Su Fang's confident plan. After the two of them talked about something, Sister Yu was full of admiration. He summoned experts and had Sister Yu guard the Little Sky Devil Island. Su Fang and Li Ziqing quietly left the Little Sky Devil Island. The two of them hurriedly moved toward the water area, their speed increasing. Su Fang secretly activated a rune talisman. Wang Zhong, how long will it take for the Floating Cloud Island's troops to reach the Little Sky Devil Island? The other party answered honestly, it will probably take a few more hours. There are more than 10,000 experts, and their overall speed will only reach the Yangsoul realm. These experts have nothing to fear, and it seems that they will definitely take down the Little Sky Devil Island. After hearing this, Li Ziqing and Su Fang's speed increased again. In less than half an hour, they arrived above a huge island. This island was slightly smaller than the Little Sky Devil Island, but because it was closer to the abundant, lush continent, the island's barrier was more sturdy. The Floating Cloud Island. This was the faction controlled by the Yin dynasty. Since you think that the Heaven Crossing sect is a pushover, I will let you have a taste of my power. He made his move. Su Fang began to form seals with his hands. The power of the 6 paths of yang meridians in his body began to burst out and spread into the sky above the Floating Cloud Island. He also secretly used the ethereal true comprehension. Li Ziqing originally thought that Su Fang would need to attack the Floating Cloud Island together with him. However, he was wrong. Seeing Su Fang act alone, he couldn't help but send out his senses. Shocked, he said, "What energy art is this? How could the sky above the island be filled with pure nature energy?" Originally, the spiritual energy above the Floating Cloud Island had been evenly distributed, but now it wasn't. Instead, it was filled with high-grade spiritual energy that was comparable to true energy. That's right, Li Ziqing thought. This brat has absorbed the world energy of the Awa Heaven Realm and the Mortal Emperor world. He's using his world energy to control the natural energy above the Floating Cloud Island. It's almost as if the entire sky is under his control. He's only in the second stage of tribulation transcendence, but he can already use world energy to such a degree. Li Ziqing was inwardly amazed. The more he thought about Su Fang's future accomplishments, the more he thought about it. In fact, he might even surpass the Lord of 5 Poisons. The Tao of the ethereal, true comprehension lies in the void. My legacy is the world, and the sky is my myriad techniques and divine abilities. What is real is illusory, and what is illusory is real. He continued to use the ethereal true comprehension for about an hour. Su Fang suddenly spread his hands apart, and 10 pagodas appeared in the air above the island, each one more than 300 meters tall. Incredible, Li Ziqing said, clapping his hands in praise of the divine ability that had appeared out of nowhere. What's going on? Not good. There's divine might suppressing the island. The 10 pagodas silently began to descend toward the Floating Cloud Island. As of this moment, some of the experts on the island's barrier sensed the divine might and began to emerge. However, as soon as they saw the pagodas descending, they began to flee. Some of them even fled back into the barrier. As it turned out, returning to the barrier was the best course of action. The 10 pagodas began to rumble as they began to descend toward the barrier, which was normally used to defend the island. Ruiyumble. Floating Cloud Island's enchantment instantly collapsed, and the 10 pagodas rushed in. Li Ziqing saw that the 10 pagodas seemed to be spewing out poisonous gas from the shattered enchantment. Chapter 589. He was really ruthless. Seeing such an attack, Li Ziqing nearly blurted out the words that he wanted to say in his heart. Floating Cloud Island was under the control of the Yin dynasty. Naturally, Su Fang would not be able to destroy the entire dojo by himself. After being frightened, The experts on the island immediately formed an array to attack the 10-direction pagoda. A new dojo barrier began to block the 10-direction pagoda. As expected of a major faction, Floating Cloud Island's overall strength was not as strong as the Minor Sky Demon sect, but it still had many Feather Transformation Realm experts. These experts also came from the Yin Dynasty, so they must have some tricks up their sleeves. A subordinate faction already had such a strong foundation. How strong was the Yin Dynasty? At the same time, on the Minor Sky Demon Island. Master, you're so smart. You're attacking Floating Cloud Island now. Floating Cloud Island sent out 10,000 people, so there shouldn't be many experts there. In the sky of the Water Realm, some distance away from the Minor Sky Demon Island, Wang Zhong transformed into his true demon state and used his sensing ability to communicate with Su Fong secretly. He mainly sensed the movement in front of him. He sensed a large number of factions, no less than 10,000 people, hiding in the depths of the Water Realm. So many factions are here, but they're all waiting for Floating Cloud Island to come out first. These factions usually don't dare to offend the Sky Demon True Master. It was not too far away in the Water Realm. The 10,000 people flew toward the Minor Sky Demon Island. When they saw the Minor Sky Demon Island from afar, the 10,000 cultivators immediately released their killing intent. The Heavenly Devil True Lord is usually so powerful. He has more than 30,000 disciples and many experts. He could be considered one of the top forces in this region of water. This internal conflict is the best time for our Floating Cloud Island to seize the island. At the front was a group of Feather Transformation Realm experts. There's a middle-aged man with big shoulders and a thick waist. He did not have a fierce aura. Instead, he was stout and did not look like a cultivator. However, the aura he released surpassed all the Feather Transformation Realm experts. This person was the Island Master of Floating Cloud Island. He was also a powerful figure in the Water Realm. The middle-aged man beamed as he looked at the experts around him. Brothers, let's work harder and take down Little Sky Devil Island. That way, we'll be considered to have made a great contribution to the dynasty. It's only a matter of time before we leave these waters and head to the rich continent to enjoy glory, splendor, and wealth. We'll listen to the Island Master. We'll take down the Little Sky Devil Island and claim credit from the Yin Dynasty. We'll follow the Island Master to the Water Realm and work for the Yin Dynasty so that we can go to the Fertile Continent one day. That's right. With the Island Master around, we'll definitely be able to conquer even more islands and offer them to the Yin Dynasty. This will also allow the Yin Dynasty's forces around the Fertile Continent to grow stronger. Many Feather Transformation Realm experts began to brag about the Floating Cloud Island Master. The 10,000 people's auras continued to tear through the air, pushing away the layers of clouds. They were getting closer and closer to Little Sky Devil Island. Some experts clearly sensed the movements in the surrounding waters. They could sense that there were several hundred or even several thousand people gathered in the depths of the Water Realm. They were all staring at Little Sky Devil Island. Floating Cloud Island Master chuckled. He knew what these factions were waiting for. How many powers were there in the 8 waters surrounding the rich, lush continent? However, how many of these powers were like Floating Cloud Island? How many of them had a major power behind them? They were worried that the internal strife within the Little Sky Devil Island wouldn't affect the Demon Gate much. Would they be able to conquer Little Sky Devil Island? If they couldn't, would the Sky Devil True Lord be able to overpower them? If Floating Cloud Island was the vanguard and could conquer Little Sky Devil Island, then these powers would attack Little Sky Devil Island at the same time and seize its resources. There were still several dozen miles left. They could already see Little Sky Devil Island clearly. Floating Cloud Island Master suddenly ordered, "Get ready to attack." Buzz, who knew that the Floating Cloud Island Master and the experts around him would have the same movement coming from their empty pouches. When some of the experts took out their rune talismans, they were immediately shocked. Island Master, this is bad. Someone is attacking Floating Cloud Island right now and has destroyed more than half of the island's barrier. The brothers guarding the island want us to quickly return. They probably won't be able to hold on for much longer. What? When Floating Cloud Island Master heard this, he also took out his rune talisman. He was extremely shocked and muttered to himself, Who? Who dares to sneak attack my island at this time while my island is empty? Damn it! The experts all stared at Floating Cloud Island Master. Island Master, the other party is about to break the island's barrier. If the barrier is really destroyed, not only will we have to expend energy to rebuild the barrier, we will also have to waste time. More importantly, if the barrier is really broken, then our treasures might be taken away by them. Oh no, treasures! Return! Floating Cloud Island Master anxiously pounded his fist. How could he still have any ideas about Little Sky Devil Island? He waved his arm and hurriedly led the 10,000 people back to Floating Cloud Island. Interesting. Floating Cloud Island. Su Fong was still controlling the 10-directional pagoda to attack Floating Cloud Island's barrier. Although there were experts inside activating the barrier to block the 10-directional pagoda, Su Fong's current attack was no longer a normal divine ability. It was a kind of control. Only a realm lord could control this supreme ability. Su Fong looked at Li Ziqing in surprise. The 10,000 people of Floating Cloud Island are rushing back. The experts inside are unable to hold on and are asking them for help. Li Ziqing praised, "What a good diversion tactic. Taking advantage of Floating Cloud Island's emptiness to launch a sneak attack. It is equivalent to resolving Little Sky Devil Island's crisis. Since we have achieved our goal, we should leave. If we really face the 10,000 people, you and I can withdraw, but if they continue to pester us, we will also have some trouble. Out of 10 fatties, 9 are rich." Su Fong revealed a sly smile. "What do you mean? Just now, Wang Zhong told me that Floating Cloud Island Master is a fatty. With one look, I can tell that he is filthy rich. Don't you think that Floating Cloud Island also has a large amount of resources waiting for us? You want to snatch the resources? Since you have the ability to snatch them, why not just take them away? Floating Cloud Island is a subordinate power of Yin Dynasty. I know what Senior is worried about. Isn't it the same as taking Floating Cloud Island's resources and Yin Dynasty's treasures? What is there to be afraid of? If they want to take advantage of me, I won't take advantage of them. If they respect me, I will respect them 10 times over. If they want to take advantage of me, then I will make them lose everything. All right, you are now the master of Little Sky Devil Island. You have the most power. Yin Dynasty is a large power in Spirit Mist World. Just hide your identity and don't expose yourself. Take the treasures and leave. I understand Senior's meaning. I will be careful. Even if they suspect that it is my Heaven Crossing sect, they will not be able to do anything to us. We will speak with our methods. I will lend you a hand. It will be hard for you to block the island's formation by yourself. I will deal with them while you sneak into the island. I will trouble Senior. No need for trouble. I also hope that you can establish yourself in Spirit Mist World." The two hit it off. Li Ziqing stayed in place and followed Su Fong's hand seals to control the 10-directional pagoda. As for Su Fong, in the blink of an eye, he disappeared like a wisp of smoke. His speed was as fast as lightning. He was probably already inside the island. Floating Cloud Island's formation was already broken. As long as Su Fong attacked with the 10-directional pagoda, he could easily sneak in. Even if the formation was intact, he could still enter the island. The treasures should be at the center of the island where the spirit chi is the most abundant. Floating Cloud Island's master is a rich guy. His palace must be the most dazzling. They arrive in the sky above the island. First, they saw dozens of Ascension Realm experts leading thousands of Catastrophe Realm and Young Infant Realm experts. They activated the rune talismans and used the power of the rune talismans to activate the island's formation. They were focused on dealing with the 10-directional pagoda. How could they have the time to guard their nest? Moreover, they did not expect that someone would come in at this time. Under normal circumstances, who would be willing to risk their life and enter the enemy's nest alone? Once they were discovered, they would be chopped into pieces. Chi. He directly flew to the center of the island where the spirit chi was the most abundant. It turned out that there was also a city on Floating Cloud Island. It seemed to be a trading city. Many imperishable realm and young infant realm experts gathered in the city. They were all from Floating Cloud Island. They gathered solemnly. Su Fong had already flown above the city and arrived at a formation behind the city. After a moment, he entered the formation. This should be the gathering place of Floating Cloud Island's authority. Su Fong sensed that there were still a few Ascension Realm experts and many Catastrophe Realm experts guarding the place. However, these Ascension Realm experts were too weak. There are not many of them from the first to the fourth stage. After entering another inner world, Su Fong saw a palace standing on top of a mountain. From the formation to the mountain, there was a staircase made of mid-grade spirit stones. It led from a formation to the Golden Palace. In a breath's time, Su Fong arrived at the palace. Chi with a wave of the edgeless sword, he stepped into the palace. More than a dozen patrollers were beheaded by the sword Chi. These people died, too, unjustly. The experts did not die, but the patrollers lost their heads. After stepping into the palace, he sensed that he had arrived at another inner hall. This inner hall was sealed by the formation again, and it was very powerful. It was Ascension Realm expert. Using the divine image Jade Annulus, he found a weak spot and stabbed out with his sword. A hole immediately appeared in the formation. After entering the inner hall, he saw many treasure chests. Each treasure chest contained an empty bag. He did not care what kind of treasure it was. He sucked all the empty bags and the treasure chests into his palm. Why is there a special spirit Chi? It seems to be the origin Chi. Looking at the empty inner hall, he was about to leave when he suddenly felt a familiar aura coming from under his feet. World origin. It can't be. He was so lucky. Last time, he killed his way into the 9-segment Earth Dragon Palace. He was lucky enough to obtain an origin essence from the Zhuotian realm. Now, he unexpectedly obtained another one. Perhaps it was even an origin Chi stone. Ha! Bang! Using the Vigor Divine Palm, with the divine power of a perfect realm expert, he struck the white floor paved with spirit stones with a golden aura. A skeleton appeared on the ground. It turned out that there was an underground secret room. The secret room was not big, but it was enough to hide treasures. When he entered the secret room, he couldn't stop smiling. As he had expected, there was an origin Chi stone from the spirit mist world sealed within the secret room's barrier. His luck was too good. The origin Chi stone was not big. It was only a meter long. The origin Chi stone was a peerless treasure. It contained the essence of a small world. Once the origin Chi stone was refined and fused with, a mortal cultivator would be able to obtain a fist-sized origin Chi stone. After countless years of refinement, they would be able to obtain a certain amount of world energy. His palm struck the formation, causing it to immediately shatter. Grabbing the foot-long origin Chi stone, he was incomparably excited. Now, he could establish himself in the spirit mist world. After refining this origin Chi stone, he would be able to control some of the spirit mist world's origin Chi. Then, he could use the origin Chi to activate his instant spatial ring and condense divine abilities. His overall strength would increase by quite a bit. Chi! He turned and flew out of the secret room. No one noticed him leaving the inner island. However, Su Fong saw many experts rushing toward the palace. Su Fong analyzed the situation. It seemed the Floating Cloud Island Master had personally sealed the origin Chi stone. He should have sensed the formation shattering. Chapter 590. After a few breaths, Su Fong quietly left Floating Cloud Island. Li Ziqing met up with Su Fong. Seeing him beaming with joy, Li Ziqing said, "You seem to have gotten a lot of benefits." Su Fong patted the empty bags on his waist and said, "Hee hee, more than 100 empty bags and a foot-long origin source primal stone. Floating Cloud Island is too courteous to me, giving me such a big gift for no reason. Indeed, I made a huge profit. I want the forces of the primordial god world, immortal primordial world, Wutan world, spirit mist world, and Zhuotian world to know that if they offend me, they will have to pay me back several times over. It's fine if they don't have to live, but having treasures is also good. Brat, you're getting too complacent. Wait until you reach the wing transformation realm before you have the confidence to say such words." If I really reach the wing transformation realm, the Yin dynasty will also be destroyed. This time, I'll give the Yin dynasty some face and make them retreat. Otherwise, destroying Floating Cloud Island will be an easy matter. Always leave a way out so that we can meet again in the future. Senior, let's go. The two concealed their auras and used a speed comparable to teleportation to break through the sky. In less than half an incense stick's time, hundreds of experts rushed back to Floating Cloud Island. Floating Cloud Island's lord was sweating profusely. He arrived in front of the island's broken formation. Without waiting for the experts below to report, he flew into the island. Imperial Palace. It's over. It's over. Floating Cloud Island's lord flew into the inner palace. We saw that it was empty. Even the corners were not spared. He was in so much pain that he had no tears. When he saw the secret room below, he even had the thought of dying. When he arrived at the secret room, he didn't want to look, but he still looked. In the end, he weakly shrugged his shoulders like a pickled eggplant. It's over. This origin source primal stone was given to the king, who knew that something would go wrong in just a few days. Floating Cloud Island's lord couldn't come back to his senses. His expression was extremely depressed. After a long time, he activated the rune talisman and transmitted a thought. King, subordinate accidentally lost the origin source primal stone. Then he anxiously waited. After a while, an extremely young voice came out from the talisman. Investigate clearly. How could such a treasure be lost on Floating Clouds Island? If you can't find out why, then let your subordinates bring your head to this king. Yes, this subordinate will go and check. Floating Cloud Island's island master felt a chill in his heart. When he came back to his senses, he hurriedly recalled the whole sequence of events. He seemed to have thought of something and quickly left the secret room. Little Sky Devil Island. Why did Floating Cloud Island Master leave? I just heard that someone took advantage of the fact that the Floating Cloud Island Master was halfway to the minor Sky Devil Island to launch a sneak attack. No wonder. Otherwise, why would the Floating Cloud Island Lord, who has the support of the Yin dynasty, leave in embarrassment? It is most likely related to the newly established Heaven Crossing sect. How could it not be related? Floating Cloud Island came to exterminate it, but our own base was attacked instead. Shit, I have to go back and take a look. The 8 forces surrounding the island naturally wouldn't leave so easily. However, due to the commotion caused by the Floating Clouds Island and the spies they had planted, they immediately learned of what had happened on the Floating Clouds Island. 1 spread to 10, and 10 spread to 100. All kinds of voices entered the ears of the experts of these forces. They were all worried that the Floating Clouds Island's matter was related to them. A large number of forces began to secretly retreat. At the very least, they should observe the situation first. At this moment, 2 figures flew through the air. Su Fong released his senses and discovered that many forces were disappearing. He sneered. These forces are really crafty. They retreated as soon as they sensed something was wrong. If you want to establish a force in a strange world, and you're not familiar with the people and the place, there's a 90% chance that you won't succeed. Li Zuqing calmly analyzed. These forces left when they saw that the situation was not good. Do you think that they're not a threat? Could it be that these random forces can overturn the heavens? You underestimate them too much. In reality, these forces may seem weak, but when it comes to eating people, swallowing other people's territories, and snatching their resources, they won't be lenient. If Floating Cloud Island had attacked today, they would have killed their way into your Heaven Crossing sect. In that case, not even a blade of grass would survive. For the sake of survival, for their own benefits, these forces will use any means necessary, especially those small forces that you don't care about. I really can't ignore them. The reason why the Xinyuan Empire is able to become the strongest empire in a minor world is because they won't ignore any of their enemies. For example, the human emperor world has already begun to act tens of thousands of years ago. They did everything they could to obtain the fragments of the human emperor's bright wheel. Furthermore, they even prepared a Tao item and countless experts. Why are they so afraid of any accidents? Junior has experienced this before. When the Xinyuan Empire went to the Great Desolate Swamp to obtain the fragments of the human emperor's bright wheel, they destroyed everything there. They even sent out an army to suppress a third-rate family. Forget it. Let's go back and talk about it. Li Ziqing waved his hand. The two of them met up with Wang Zhong on the way back. When they returned to Little Sky Devil Island, everything was normal. After resting for a while, Su Fong began to distribute the tasks. He had Wang Zhong take a few experts to recruit more experts. Now that the Heaven Crossing sect was in dire need of manpower, Wang Zhong quickly left with a few experts. Gu Shijin also returned. He had bought over a dozen pill furnaces, most of which were high-grade. Only a few of them were king-grade. Not only did he have pill furnaces, but he also had many other alchemy materials. He didn't lack spirit water or yang energy. Yang energy was the most important factor in refining the yang energy pill. Without yang energy, there wouldn't be any yang energy pills. Floating Cloud Island's island master is really rich. He has over 100 empty bags filled with all kinds of resources. I can give them to Gu Shijin to buy more pill furnaces and materials. The more the better. After a period of time, not only did the 200 Ascension Realm experts learn how to refine the Yang Energy pill, but the majority of them also stayed behind to refine Tribulation Realm pills. If they had enough time, they would be able to refine Ascension Realm pills. Sister Yu and the Divine Sex experts were all hiding their auras. They didn't even take half a step out of Little Sky Devil Island. As for the Heaven Crossing sex matters, they also didn't participate. In truth, the Divine Sex experts were like a stabilizing force for Su Fong. They weren't ordinary Ascension Realm experts. Each one of them had a high cultivation base. After Su Fong finished his work, he finally had the mood to cultivate. Just as he was sorting out the treasures he had obtained from Floating Cloud Island, he suddenly smiled. The Heaven Crossing sect could use this wealth to buy pill furnaces and resources. He didn't lack resources, but using the wealth of his enemies or outsiders to make a profit was very satisfying. Master, someone's coming. Wang Zhong suddenly sent him a message. It had been half a year since they last met. Could it be that Floating Cloud Island had come looking for trouble? Su Fong arrived at the barrier and met with Wang Zhong. He sensed that someone was coming, and it was an expert. After a few breaths, Su Fong revealed a surprised expression. When he walked out of the barrier and arrived above the island, 3 people were flying over. The leader was an expert from the richly fertile continent, Yu Yingying. He seemed to have realized something and quickly brought Wang Zhong to greet Yu Yingying. Yu Yingying and 2 old men had arrived. Let alone Yu Yingying, even the 2 old men were as strong as elders. She stared at the Heaven Crossing sex barrier and smiled. You're quite fast. In just 2 or 3 years, you've already occupied the minor Sky Devil sect outside the continent and established the Heaven Crossing sect. Su Fong bowed. I also admire you. Master Lu was able to find out about such a small matter. A small matter. Yu Yingying glanced at him. The waters around the richly fertile continent, even a speck of dust, are all Master Lu's property. Although Master Lu doesn't interfere with the outer powers, he secretly keeps track of any changes. There are even things you can't imagine. Su Fong nodded. My lord, please come in for a chat. I won't go in. It seems your Transcending Heavens trading company really does have some tricks up its sleeve. You should have some experts supporting you, or you wouldn't have been able to take over the minor Heavenly Devil sect in such a short time. I've seen the Heavenly Devil True Lord several times, and he's not weak. He's also a true devil. Is he the mysterious expert who saved you from Heartless Granny and Grand Elder Xiaoyan? This one admires you, sir. You know me like the back of your hand so quickly. I can't say how well I know you, but the Zhuotian realm, Qilian Star, the Beichen Zone, and even the Wutan realm, the Immortal Primordial realm, and the other smaller realms are all secretly gathering information. Furthermore, the Zhuotian realm is so close. If I didn't know about such a small matter, I'd be letting down Master Lu's nurturing. I want to ask who's supporting you. I heard you attacked Floating Cloud Island again. I really can't hide anything from you. Floating Cloud Island is backed by the Yin Dynasty. The Yin Dynasty has a long history in the richly fertile continent. I kept in contact with many people from the Yin dynasty. Although you were forced to protect the Heaven Crossing sect this time, you really shouldn't have attacked Floating Cloud Island. I'm being bullied. Although I'm a mediocre mortal, I'm not the kind of person who can casually swallow his anger. From your tone, it sounds like you have some major power supporting you. Remember to refine pills. We still have to discuss the details of our cooperation. For example, your Heaven Crossing sect has just been established, and you won't have time to manage the Merchant Association. I'll send people to manage it. I'll also decide on the staff of the Merchant Association. As long as you provide timely yang strengthening pills, we'll still only take 10%. Since you're so sincere, if I have anything else to say, or if I have any other requests, I'll be too tactless. Furthermore, I already have over 100 million yang strengthening pills. Most of them are at the yang nascent realm or the undying realm. As for those at the calamity realm, I only have over 1,000. I'll give them to you first. He hadn't expected you, Ying, to go all out to manage the Merchant Association for him. This was something the Su Fong had always wanted. If you, Ying, directly sent people to manage the Heaven Crossing sect, wouldn't that mean the Heaven Crossing sect was related to Master Lu? To the Sky Traversing Trading Company, this was great news. He also told Li Zuqing and Sister Yu that the two of them had the same opinion. They were completely in favor of letting Master Lu manage the Heaven Crossing sect. Over 100 million aphrodisiac pills are still not enough. You have to increase the speed of your concoction. Although this speed has already reached a level that the Heaven Leaping faction cannot reach, to the bountiful lush continent, 100 million aphrodisiac pills is not enough to sell. Perhaps the Immortal Bestowment Chamber of Commerce will have enough, but my bountiful lush continent is a famous trading continent in this small world. I'll do my best to increase my refining speed, but I'll have to trouble you to turn a blind eye to the activity around Little Heavenly Devil Island. What do you want to do? Don't offend a major power like the Yin dynasty. I just want to borrow some people. I naturally wouldn't dare offend a major power. I'll take my leave first. In the future, I'll have my people come directly to you. Don't slack off. If you want to make money, if you want to do business, you have to get up early and work late. Yu Ying left behind an unscrupulous look before leading the two experts away. Su Fangda's jaw dropped. Such an expert was only interested in benefits. It was no wonder someone like the Six Lords of Abundant Lush wanted to interfere in the mortal realm's affairs. Author's words: don't forget to buy your red tickets at the end of the month. Chapter 591. After sending Yu Ying off, Su Fong returned to the main hall within the restriction. He asked Li Zuqing, "Senior, are the six major powers that Yu Ying represents being too courteous to me?" Li Zuqing sneered. "There's no free lunch in this world. Even if there is, you'll choke to death if you eat it. Don't be courteous just because she's a little girl and her strength is about the same as mine. She's very calculative. She's not being courteous to you. She's being courteous to the yang strengthening pill. So it's a medicinal pill. The yang strengthening pill is very rare, and the sect master also values it. In the future, it might replace the pure yuan pill and become the most common medicinal pill in the small world. But that's still a bit difficult. The biggest reason is that the yang strengthening pill requires your special energy to refine. The pure yuan pill is something that anyone can refine. From the looks of it, the yang strengthening pill will become a medicinal pill on the same level as the life-seizing recreating pill. That little girl understands the Zhuotian realm very well through the six major powers. She definitely knows that the yang strengthening pill has already been sold in the Zhuotian realm. It's just that the Immortal Sealing sect is unable to sell a large amount of medicinal pills in a short period of time. But the bountiful lush continent can do it. They're using your medicinal pills to make a fortune. It looks like they're only taking 10%, while you're getting 90%. But that 90% includes all kinds of expenses. But they're putting in the effort. So what if they're putting in the effort? In the future, they'll still use the profits from the sales to raise those cultivators. Furthermore, they probably have even more plans in the future. Once the yang strengthening pill sales explode, you'll know. Senior's analysis is clear and logical. I've seen too much, too much. After asking for advice, Su Fong left the palace where Li Ziqing was resting. Along the way, he had also analyzed the situation. The bountiful lush continent would not do anything without benefits. Everything pointed to the fact that the bountiful lush continent was very confident in the yang strengthening pill. Master, we've recruited quite a few people this time. Do you want to see them? Wang Zhong entered Su Fong's Dao Hall alone and rushed over to report. Su Fong was currently cultivating. Those ordinary cultivators will be under your control. Find some experts as well. The reason I want them is to bluff for the heaven transcending sect, to let the other powers outside see that my transcending heaven faction has the capital and has the people. So that's how it is. This subordinate thought that Master was going to start recruiting disciples. Disciples are just ordinary people. How could they be qualified? The experts you found should be at least in the catastrophe realm. It would be best if they were in the ascension realm. Here are some medicinal pills and spirit stones. Give them to those cultivators. This subordinate will do it right away. Oh, that's right. Master, there are still some factions around our demonic Dao that are making a move in the dark. Floating Cloud Island is exceptionally quiet. Give me a detailed list of those forces. Don't leave out any of them. When I'm free, I'll go talk to them. As for the Floating Cloud Island, since it's a subordinate force of the Yin dynasty, it must be planning something for it to be so quiet after suffering such a huge loss. I'm guessing that trouble will come soon. Su Fong looked down at Wang Zhong. After he finished speaking, he gave Wang Zhong not only the elixir, but also a rune talisman that contained the qi of the underworld. Underworld Yin qi was a type of devil qi. Just like true fire, there were different types of flames. Devil qi also had different types of power. For example, Wang Zhong, who was an Ascension Realm expert and had become a supreme, true demon, could control the qi of the underworld. After cultivating, his strength would increase greatly. It's been 5 years since I returned to the Zhua Tian boundary. Only now do I have time to cultivate properly. First, I'll refine the origin source essence I got from the 9 segments Earth Dragon. After that, my Zhua Tian boundary's world essence will settle down in my 6 yang meridians. Taking advantage of the rare time, Su Fong cut a hole in his body and planted immortal fruits, absorbing the ice-sealing king's blood. Time after time, he attacked his body and used the illusory fire cloud to burn the origin source essence in his body, melting the origin source essence that was constantly flowing out. Another year passed. Su Fong suddenly stopped cultivating and summoned the 9 segments Earth Dragon. The two of them quietly left the Minor Sky Devil Island. In just a short while, they arrived at a small island. Shao Wang Island is a small faction created by righteous Dao experts. There are about 5,000 people. Most of them are young nascent realm experts. There are very few catastrophe realm experts, and there should only be a few ascension realm experts. How dare you spy on my sky crossing sect? I'll start with you and kill you first. Vermilion Emperor. He grabbed with his right hand and looked at the island below. Shao Wang Island. Near the Minor Sky Devil Island, there was a small island that was less than 1/10 the size of the Minor Sky Devil Island. According to Wang Zhong's information, this Shao Wang Island still dared to secretly spy on the Sky Crossing sect. They don't want to live anymore. Whoosh! Su Fong shot out more than 10 sealing chains from his right hand. The chains flashed, and an expert with a shocking demonic aura rushed out from them. The Vermilion Emperor. Unfortunately, the Vermilion Emperor was now bound by the sealing chains around his neck and had become a real slave. The Vermilion Emperor had been completely suppressed by Su Fong, and he no longer had the arrogance in his bones. Even so, in Su Fong's eyes, he was still a traitor, which was why he was sealed so heavily. The Vermilion Emperor knelt down to Su Fong. I'll go and destroy this island now. Su Fong sat numbly on the 9 segments Earth Dragon's back. The sealing chains in his hand flew into the Vermilion Emperor's head. You can eat people, but to suppress experts, I still need these people to refine pills. Whoosh! His speed was too fast. Su Fong flashed above the Shao Wang Island and unceremoniously grabbed a long whip, releasing the power of a Dao artifact. Seeing this, Su Fong coldly snorted. 9 segments Earth Dragon. Do you see that Tao artifact? It's a demonic artifact. If the Pig Horse King is not obedient, kill him and I'll give you the Tao artifact. The 9 segments Earth Dragon was very happy. Thank you, Master. Tao artifacts are something that all big goblins desire. In this small world, the only big goblin that has a Tao artifact is probably this Pig Horse King, who is only at the Ascension realm. Chi! Chi! The long whip was like a bolt of lightning that suddenly came alive. The Vermilion Emperor shook vigorously, and the blood-red whip actually tore apart the sky above the Shao Wang Island. This whip was the wrath of the demon god. When the Vermilion Emperor used it, the power of a Tao artifact surpassed any artifact. Moreover, the Vermilion Emperor was born with divine strength. Chi! The long whip turned into a blood-red flame that was hundreds of meters long. It hit the defensive barrier of the Shao Wang Island, which was only at the level of a catastrophe realm cultivator. The barrier trembled and was shattered by the blood-red flame. The remaining power of the whip fell into the mountains and forests of the island, causing explosions. Hua! Hua! The Vermilion Emperor threw the wrath of the demon god in his hand. This Tao artifact suddenly hovered above the turbulent Shao Wang Island and started to rotate by itself. Its speed became faster and faster, forming a blood-red storm that gradually enlarged. The wrath of the demon god controlled this storm and swept it into the island. It covered layers of mountains and forests. Everywhere it went, it was instantly razed to the ground. The power of the Tao artifact instantly filled the entire Shao Wang Island. To the cultivators inside, this was an ultimate destruction from heaven and earth. Whoosh! Whoosh! The sky snow raccoon and the heavenly snow lion appeared. They also turned into human form and started to wait on the left and right sides of the Shao Wang Island. At first, there were catastrophe realm cultivators escaping from the island. Because of the wrath of the demon god, these catastrophe realm cultivators could not use even a tenth of their power. In the end, they were suppressed by the 2 big goblin. These cultivators who were able to escape alive were all slaves that Su Fong deliberately left behind to refine pills. Su Fong calmly watched all of this. This is the first time I've seen the Vermilion Emperor use the wrath of the demon god. With such destructive power, the Vermilion Emperor can deal with any Ascension Realm cultivator. In less than 2 hours, the barrier of the Shao Wang Island was completely destroyed. The inside of the island was in ruins. Those who were able to escape were all experts. About 100 people were sucked into the Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda by Su Fong. As for the cultivators who were still alive on the island, Su Fong was kind enough to let them go this time. However, he warned them that if they dared to target the Heaven Crossing sect again, only death would await them. Next, Su Fong had the big goblin in his hand suppress the dozen or so smaller islands around the Shao Wang Island. Wherever he went, even an island with 10,000 people would not be able to last for more than a few hours. If they didn't die, then they fled. The experts were all suppressed by Su Fong. Floating Cloud Island. Island Master, we just received news that the sect master of the Heaven Crossing sect, who calls himself Su Fong, brought experts to flatten the dozen or so islands around the Shao Wang Island. They captured the core experts of each island and slaughtered the weak. Now, the Heaven Crossing sect has flattened all the islands around the Shao Wang Island. Main Hala panicked expert was sweating profusely as he reported to the Floating Cloud Island Master. He said worriedly, "If this continues, will Su Fong launch another sneak attack on our Floating Cloud Island?" The Floating Cloud Island Master was so angry that his face alternated between white and black. Does he dare to come? Don't worry. Young Master is about to arrive. Once he arrives, the Shao Wang Island will also be flattened. The surrounding experts could only remain silent. Who wouldn't be afraid of the newly established Heaven Crossing sect? Shao Wang Island. Are you all not convinced? After using thunder to clean up the surrounding dozen or so islands, the Floating Cloud Island Master sent a message. At this time, Su Fong had released more than 3,000 experts. There were quite a few young nascent realm experts, the majority of Tribulation Realm experts, and a few Ascension Realm experts. They were all experts who had been suppressed on the dozen or so islands. After releasing these people, it was obvious that some of them were releasing killing intent. Su Fong swept his gaze across the crowd. I have always been fair and direct. Now, I will give you all a chance to attack me. You can use any method you want to kill me. If you can kill me, you will regain your freedom. If you can't kill me and end up in my hands again, I can only send you all to be food for the big goblin. You can start choosing. Chi, just as he finished speaking, someone actually made a move. It wasn't an ordinary attack, but a first-stage Ascension Realm expert. He directly took out a King-grade artifact, and the artifact turned into a shooting star as he charged towards Su Fong. Su Fong calmly looked at the incoming attack and said, I admire this kind of person. Chi. However, before the attack could reach Wan Zhong away, a demonic aura suddenly shot out from the side. This demonic aura was too powerful. It turned into a sharp claw-like blood-red fingerprint and intercepted the power of the artifact in midair. With a puff, the fingerprint grabbed the expert and made him lose all his momentum. As for the King-grade artifact, it was difficult to suppress, but it was also blocked by the demonic aura fingerprint a foot away from Su Fong. A blood-red robed man walked out from the void to the left of Su Fong. It was the 9-segment Earth Dragon. He coldly pressed down on the artifact and used his fingerprint to grab the corpse in midair. He released thunder and fury at everyone. Did you hurt my master and ask this king? Crack. There were more than 3,000 experts present. It seemed that the main hall couldn't accommodate them, but in fact, this was a formation. It could accommodate 10,000 people without a problem. They were all deeply shocked by the 9-segment Earth Dragon's strength. With just one move, he could easily block a Ascension Realm expert and use a King-grade artifact's fierce attack. What kind of strength was this? How would they know about the 9-segment Earth Dragon's reputation in the Zhuo Tian realm? It was a peerless big goblin as powerful as the Old Toad Immortal, the Sky Drill Rat Emperor, and the Dao True Fox Mother. Its strength was at least at the high level of the Ascension Realm. Chapter 592. Whoosh. That bloody feather transformation realm elite fighter was crushed into minced meat in front of all the experts and sucked into the 9-section Earth Dragon's mouth. This was how the big goblin killed and ate people. It was extremely cruel. The powerful 9-segment Earth Dragon looked at the 3,000 people. Who else wants to challenge my master's power? Step forward. Silence. No one dared to release any killing intent or even raise their heads. Good. Good. All of you kneel and activate your young nascent souls. Master will place a seal on your young nascent souls. From now on, you'll be a member of the Leaping Heaven faction. You'll serve my master well. Of course, my master won't treat you unfairly. Whether you live as humans or ghosts in the future will depend on how devoted you are to my master. Master, following the 9-segment Earth Dragon's roar, the 3,000 people, including the Feather Transformation Realm experts, all knelt down. Everyone released their yang souls and floated above their heads. Su Fong activated the True Demon Blood Plate and used it as the source to form a True Demon Seal. It immediately swept toward the yang souls and entered them, causing them to feel uneasy. After the True Demon Blood Plate spun, a vast force activated Su Fong's yang souls. In an instant, an evil, blood-colored seal formed in the bodies of the 3,000 yang souls. Wang Zhong, Gu Shizhen, Su Fong shouted outside. Wang Zhong and Gu Shizhen entered the main hall. The 3,000 experts were handed over to the two of them. The Catastrophe Realm and Yang Soul Realm experts were mainly responsible for refining pills. They had to master the refinement of the Impotence Pill in the shortest time possible. A few Feather Transformation Realm experts followed Wang Zhong and joined the 200 Feather Transformation Realm experts from the Minor Sky Devil Island. This was a very unexpected force in Su Fong's hands. Although most of the 200 Feather Transformation Realm experts were at the first or second level of the Feather Transformation Realm, they could refine Feather Transformation Realm quality impotence pills and life-seizing recreating pills. The remaining experts were responsible for guarding the Skysoar faction's barrier and sensing the movements inside and outside. They were also responsible for the safety of the Minor Sky Devil Island. On the surface, the Heaven Crossing sect couldn't compare to the Minor Sky Demon sect of the past, but with Su Fong, Li Ziqing, Sister Yu, and other peerless experts overseeing the sect, they could help the Heaven Crossing sect, which was only a third-rate sect, grow stronger and expand. This time, we've destroyed more than a dozen island forces. We've also obtained all of their resources, treasures, and various materials that are enough to refine pills for several years. Su Fong, who was in the middle of cultivation, cleared out a few items and devoured quite a few spirit items. His strength was rapidly approaching the peak of the second level of Tribulation Realm. Not long after, he asked Wang Zhong to come over and bring the recently refined aphrodisiac pill to Yu Yingying in the rich, lush continent. Worried about Wang Zhong going alone, Su Fong ordered the 9-segment Earth Dragon to go with him. There were quite a lot of aphrodisiac strengthening pills. If something were to happen, the losses would be unimaginable. However, with the 9-segment Earth Dragon accompanying them, even a figure like the First Elder would not be able to snatch the pills away. Yu Yingying quickly used a rune talisman to send news that she had already received the aphrodisiac pill. Furthermore, she was intensely building merchant guild shops in the 5 main cities of the rich, lush continent. They would be done in a short period of time. As for the aphrodisiac pill, they had already sold the majority of it through other means on the rich, lush continent. Yu Yingying's final thought was that there were still too few aphrodisiac pills. Too few? Su Fong wouldn't easily satisfy the rich, lush continent. He couldn't give them enough pills all at once. He had to take it step by step. Furthermore, he now had several times the number of alchemy slaves. The aphrodisiac pill would explode like a geyser. There's a powerful kingly aura coming our way. Inadvertently, Sister Yu's thought came from the depths of the formation. Kingly aura, is it? He hurriedly used his great circle ability and combined it with a world source to increase his perception. He immediately sensed it. It really was a kingly aura. Because he had interacted with the Xinyuan Empire before, he had sensed a similar aura from the 4 princes and the 3rd prince. This kingly aura was mostly innate. It was difficult to condense it through cultivation alone. Almost all of the innate kingly auras were possessed by dynasties, sect leaders, peerless experts, or their descendants. It seems to be an expert from the floating cloud island. His eyes could see through the sky 100 miles away. He saw more than 30 people. Some of them looked familiar. They should be experts from the floating cloud island. Kingly aura and the floating cloud island. Could it be that the experts from the Yin dynasty have come? Since there's a kingly aura, there must be a peerless expert among them. He once again released his perception and scanned the cultivators. He saw the floating cloud island master. The floating cloud island master. When Su Fong killed his way into the floating cloud island, he had seen a few statues made of spirit stones. His aura couldn't be wrong. The floating cloud island master was following a few feather transformation realm experts. At the center of the feather transformation realm experts was a youth wearing a white jade robe. He looked to be around 27 or 28 years old. He held a jade fan in his hand and wore a jade crown on his head. The youth's face was like a crown. He held his head high and looked at the sky. It felt as if the entire world was trembling beneath his feet. Behind him was a golden dragon carriage carried by a dozen large golden armored men. In front of him was a large carriage pulled by a spirit beast. Strangely, there was nothing above the dragon carriage. Su Fong looked carefully. That should be the youth's throne. Do you need me to make preparations? Asked Li Ziqing concernedly from the other side of the formation. There's no need. I can handle this. Su Fong condensed his aura and arrived in the air above the Minor Sky Devil Island. After waiting for a moment, more than 30 experts appeared in his field of vision. They slowly walked over from the clouds. Su Fong cupped his fists. Why have you come to the soaring heaven sect? The floating cloud island master hastily bowed to the youth. Young master, he is the soaring heaven sect master, Su Fong. The youth indifferently waved his hand and signaled to the people around him. He then walked over to Su Fong by himself. When he was 10 meters away from Su Fong, he closed his jade fan. You're quite skilled. Do you know that Floating Cloud Island is my Yin dynasty's property? Do you also know that the Minor Sky Devil Island is my property? Su Fong replied confidently. Interesting. In my eyes, your Soaring Heaven sect is at most the Minor Sky Devil sect from before. It's not even close to being a true master of the Sky Devil sect. But that's your matter, and I don't want to meddle in it. However, since you've obtained a treasure from me, you should know why I've come. Origin Yuan Stone. You're a straightforward person, so I won't waste my breath on you. Let's forget about Floating Cloud Island. Those resources you've stolen aren't worth mentioning. I only want the Origin Yuan Stone. It was given to me by a friend, and it's extremely important to me. The Origin Yuan Stone is a supreme cultivation treasure. I can give it to you, but I want to say one thing. In the future, the Yin dynasty will not have any enmity with my Soaring Heaven sect. I admit that my Soaring Heaven sect can't even be considered a third-rate power. So if the Yin dynasty gives me a way out, I'll do anything. Are you threatening me? The young man with the imperious aura wore a dark expression. It was like killing intent was about to erupt from his eyes. Su Fong shook his head. Not really. I just feel that your Yin dynasty is a huge hegemon. If you want to swallow a small shrimp like me, it'll be extremely easy. I'm just protecting myself. Furthermore, I'm a businessman. In my eyes, this isn't a threat. It's just business. The youth suddenly smiled. If you don't give me the Origin Yuan Stone, then you, the Soaring Heaven sect, and the Minor Sky Devil Island will all disappear. Give it to me, and I'll forget about it. Buzz. Just as he was in a difficult position, a sound came from his body. Although it came from within his body, Su Fong could hear it clearly. The youth's expression sank once more. He looked at Su Fong. All right. This king will promise you that he won't cause any trouble for you in the future. Swish. Su Fong tossed a xianguang to him. The youth put away the xianguang and no longer looked at Su Fong. From start to finish, he had always been a lofty existence. If it weren't for the Origin Yuan Stone, he definitely wouldn't have paid any attention to an ordinary cultivator like Su Fong. Seeing everyone leave, Su Fong frowned. Who helped me? Could it be you, Ying? Patting his head, he suddenly thought of something. He immediately took out a runic talisman and used his will to activate a restrictive technique. After a while, Yu Ying's voice came from the other end. No need to thank me. I told you not to cause any trouble. Just give him the Origin Yuan Stone that he wants. This person is an important figure from the Yin dynasty. Su Fong had guessed correctly. Indeed, Yu Ying had asked the youth to leave at the critical moment. Yu Ying was an expert under the 6 Lords of Fertility. She had the ability to do so. Yu Ying said, this person is called Young Master Yinjun. His father was a king of the Yin dynasty. After he passed away, he inherited the king's position. Young Master Yinjun, although he is young, he is a peerless genius. He is very powerful. In addition, the Yin dynasty has always been expanding in the fertile continent and has a good relationship with the various factions on the continent. They also have a very strong foundation in other places in the spiritual mist world. Fortunately, this person has a certain relationship with me and listened to me. Otherwise, with your temper, you will definitely offend the Yin dynasty after today. Thank you for your kind intentions, sir. However, I feel that young Master Yinjun and I have already become enemies. He is a high and mighty heaven's favored son and a powerful marquis of the Yin dynasty. Since I have disrespected him today, he will definitely treat me as his enemy. Your Transcending Heaven Merchant Association will be able to open soon. Once it opens, I will protect your Merchant Association and will also protect your Transcending Heaven sect. Young Master Yinjun will also give me face. After Yu Ying said this, the runic talisman became completely silent. In a flash, she returned to the main hall. Li Zuching and Sister Yu were already waiting in the hall. The two of them learned about the whole process. Li Zuching agreed and said, according to what you said, you have indeed offended the Yin dynasty. This Yin dynasty is very powerful and much stronger than the Celestial Sealing sect, you know. I hope it will not be difficult. If it is difficult, your transcending sky sect will be hard to protect unless the impotence pill can bring about a huge effect in the short term. Su Fong said, I will make good use of the fertile continent to restrain the Yin dynasty. Yu Ying is right about one thing. At least for now, young Master Yin Jun will not do anything to me. Sister Yu said, it seems that your transcending sky sect can establish itself here. I have to bring a few people to the immortal primordial world to see what the great Emperor Dipper is doing. This is the communication runic talisman of the chess piece I've buried beside the great Emperor Dipper. Activate this talisman, and he will tell you everything about the great Emperor Dipper. If the immortal primordial world was not so far away from the spirit mist world, Sister Yu would not have to come personally. My chess piece would have already sent the news. I will be back as soon as possible. Sister Yu took the talisman and left the depths of the formation. Kid, establishing the transcending sky sect is only a part of your path of cultivation. You still have to think of ways to become stronger. You are already so strong at the second stage of the catastrophe realm. If you can reach the ascension realm, no one but immortals will be able to do anything to you. Fusing with the human emperor world and becoming a powerful world lord is the only way to ensure that you are invincible in this small world. Wait until the transcending sky sect is on the right track, and then help the god sect to destroy the great Emperor Dipper's operation. I will make a good plan. As long as nothing happens during this time, I will be very lucky. Who knows? The sky is full of unpredictable winds and clouds, and man's fortune is uncertain. After Li Ziqing warned, he returned to the barrier and continued to cultivate. His strength had returned to how it was a few thousand years ago and had improved greatly. Chapter 593. In the following days, no other forces spied on Little Sky Devil Island. Sister Yu quietly left the spirit mist world with a few experts. Li Ziqing, Li Haojie, and the other experts of the divine sect were cultivating in secret. As for the 3,000 experts, they had mastered the impotence pill refining experience in a few years and began to refine high-grade pills. Every day, thousands of impotence pills of different quality were successfully refined. At this moment, deep in the sky crossing sect, Su Fong was still trying his best to break through. In addition to refining the origin essence, he was also cultivating the 9 Yang 9 transformations. After Pai Kuang, the heavenly demon books, demonic Qi, and demonic Tao powers were controlled in 2 different spaces. In reality, this could not stop Pai Kuang from exploding. Pai Kuang was the biggest obstacle Su Fong was currently facing. If he wanted to suppress Pai Kuang in the future, he had to start with the evil Tao powers in his body. The world Qi of the 6 Yang meridians in his body continued to settle. Some came from the origin essence, and some came from the natural essence absorbed from the spirit mist world. The strongest world, Qi, came from a mortal emperor world. The other world essences mainly came from the Zhuotian world and continued to grow stronger. In addition to his own strength, he also fused with the edgeless sword, fire cloud spirit gourd, fire god elephant, fire crystal golem, instant space ring, and other treasures. The only thing he could not cultivate was the origin saint realm. Apart from the origin saint realm, it was also difficult to cultivate the purple Qi Dharma spirit in his body. If he did not fuse with the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda and use his natal treasure to cultivate and fuse with the purple Qi Dharma spirit, Su Fong would not be able to use any of the purple Qi Dharma spirit's power. At the very least, the purple Qi Dharma spirit would play a supporting role when fusing with the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda as his natal treasure. On the contrary, to fuse with the purple Qi Dharma spirit, he also needed the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. Now that his natal treasure was complete, the fusion between the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda and the purple Qi Dharma spirit had not reached the level that Su Fong had expected. He thought that once his natal treasure was complete, either the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda would completely fuse with the purple Qi Dharma spirit, or the purple Qi Dharma spirit would fuse with the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. But now, with the success of the life treasure, the two of them did not form a line as expected. This was hard to understand. He stared at the purple chi dharma spirit in his right arm. It was like a purple meridian from his wrist to his arm. He sighed helplessly. It's probably because my cultivation is not high enough, and I haven't achieved a perfect fusion with the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. What is your origin? You've been in my body for so many years, yet I've never been able to see through or fuse with you. I estimate that in a few more years, I'll be able to break through to the third level of the catastrophe realm. The process of fusing with the origin essence was extremely slow. Fortunately, this was world energy. As long as it was in the body, it had the miraculous effect of condensing the world energy. After checking the condition of his body, he sent a thought to Li Ziqing before leaving Little Sky Devil Island with Li Haojie. Wang Zhong and a few experts had been waiting in the sky outside the island for a long time. These people were all at the feather transformation realm. They knelt down before Su Fang. Master, all right, let's go to the bountiful continent to meet the Imperial Palace's emissary. It should be the official establishment of the sky-surpassing trading company. Lead the way. Su Fang, who was releasing his divine might, was above the ascendant transformation realm with his catastrophe realm cultivation. The experts followed beside him as they quickly flew towards the bountiful continent. Bountiful continent. What a spiritual land. Not only is it rich in spiritual chi, but it also gives off a feeling that it can condense great fortune. When they arrived outside the bountiful continent, Li Haojie was amazed by the dazzling aura emitted from the continent. This bountiful continent was probably built by the spiritual mist realm's realm lord with great effort. Together with the current bountiful continent's lord, it formed such a treasured land. This needs time to settle down. In the future, you and I will also have such a day. Su Fang had never seen a land like the bountiful continent before. He didn't have it in the primordial god realm or the immortal primordial realm. Such a large continent was comparable to any large faction's training grounds. Such a large continent must have been built by the realm lord with all his might. They flew to the central city. When they arrived at the Imperial Palace, a guard led the way. When they arrived at the Imperial Palace and saw Yu Yingying, she quickly brought a group of experts with her and Su Fang to the central city's main street. Although it wasn't the main street, it was still the center of the city. There were many familiar merchant associations here, such as the Supreme God Sect, Immortal Bestowment Merchant Association, Clear Sky Merchant Association, Xiannu Merchant Association, and so on. Leaping Sky Merchant Association was at a street corner. There were other merchant associations on the left and right. There were a total of 5 floors, and there were more than 100 employees. They were all cultivators appointed by the Imperial Palace. Overall, they were experts from a young nascent realm to the catastrophe realm. Yu Yingying asked Su Fang to speed up his pill refining. As for Leaping Sky Merchant Association, Leaping Sky Sect could send people over at any time. She only had one request, and that was to guarantee a large amount of aphrodisiac pills. During this time, Su Fang thought of another problem. Once I establish Leaping Sky Merchant Association, the news of Leaping Sky Sect and me will probably spread to the various factions in the Zhuotian realm. I want to see how quickly Immortal Bestowment Sect and Zuan Pavilion will come to the spiritual mist realm to make things difficult for me. This is the guild master of the Merchant Association. Yu Yingying gathered all the experts and introduced Su Fang to everyone. Su Fang took it upon himself to speak. It was just a simple exchange of pleasantries. Once everyone was ready, they placed the aphrodisiac pills on the 5th floor according to their quality. Then, everyone arrived outside the Merchant Association. Following Su Fang's signal, Wang Zhong personally lifted the red cloth covering the signboard in front of a large number of onlookers. The words Leaping Sky Merchant Association appeared in front of everyone. From start to finish, there was no ceremony. The Merchant Association was simply established and officially open for business. Su Fang was still very careful. He had a dozen feather transformation realm experts rush over from Minor Sky Devil Island. Each of the 5 Leaping Sky Merchant Association locations had 3 people in charge of managing them. They then went to each of the merchant associations. Overall, they didn't look very impressive. But as soon as they opened for business, the aphrodisiac pills were quickly sold out. That's impossible. How could it be the traitor Fong Yu? I heard the Leaping Sky Merchant Association had just opened. I thought it sounded familiar, so I came to take a look. I didn't expect it to be established by Fong Yu. I just heard that he's the owner of the Merchant Association. He's not called Fong Yu, but Su Fong, deliberately mystifying things. We've done a meritorious service. Who would have thought that we would find the traitor Fong Yu's whereabouts in the spirit mist realm first? At this time, Su Fong, Yu Yingying, and the others were patrolling the last Merchant Association. As soon as they left, they were surrounded by countless cultivators. Some of the cultivators wearing the immortal sealing sect's Taoist robes exclaimed in disbelief when they saw Su Fong. Moreover, there were quite a few cultivators who secretly began to activate rune talismans. All right, it's easy to establish a merchant association. It's even easier to just sell pills. The merchant association doesn't need you to split your attention, just for find more pills. Yu Yingying, Su Fong, and the others flew into the sky above the city. Only the big shots of the abundant, lush continent could fly in the sky above the city. Don't worry, my lord. I'll guarantee it. It's just that it's hard to break through the current number. Su Fong replied, and watched Yu Yingying leave. A portion of the palace experts escorted Su Fong and the others out of the abundant, lush continent. Zhuotian realm. Crimson firmament continent. Immortal sealing sect. The core Dao field, where one of the elders cultivated. In the main hall, Yuan Tianzong was meeting with a disciple. It was Prince Shui, one of the 3 Dao venerables of the immortal sealing sect. Yuan Tianzong deliberately sealed the Dao field, then smiled at Prince Shui. Crown Prince, you've reached the Ascension realm. Your strength is heaven-defying, and you're already as strong as me. This is worthy of celebration. It seems that you've obtained a great fortuitous encounter. After replying, Prince Shui suddenly took out a pearl. This time, I obtained many treasures. This is a magic treasure that's almost at the peak of the king grade. I know that you're in the final stages of breaking through, and you need a powerful magic treasure to break through. You're so polite. Thank you for secretly supporting my Crown Prince Society all these years. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to fight against the Dao venerables of the 2 major factions. Actually, I've valued you from the beginning. Although I'm not the great elder, I'll definitely support you to become the future leader. I'll accept the treasure. It just so happens that I'm lacking such a peerless magic treasure. Elder, if I become the future leader, I'll definitely give you the highest position. Right now, I hope you can help me. Soon, I'll go to the Tiangord territory to refine the Tiangord spirit tree. I've also contacted many experts to help me. At this time, Yuan Tianzong lowered his voice. The sect fully supports you refining the Tiangord spirit tree. That's not a problem. I'll try my best to get more resources from the Elder Group for you. Right. Are the experts you invited from the Xinyuan Empire? Will you introduce them to me? Prince Shui bowed. Elder, since you're so supportive of me, if the experts from the Xinyuan Empire come to the Zhuotian realm, they'll definitely introduce you to them. I'll take care of your matter. It's just that Huang Lingyao and Sheng Changshan seem to have gained quite a bit from their training. They should have reached the Wing transformation realm as well. It's best if your 3 factions don't start any internal conflicts in the sect. Yuan Tianzong told Prince Shui to leave. Buzz. Impossible. Just as Crown Prince Shui was about to leave the main hall, he stepped out of the barrier and suddenly heard Yuan Tianzong's agitated voice. When he went back and asked, his face was also ashen. Impossible. Fong Yu should have fled long ago. How could he have established the Leaping Heaven Trading Company in the rich continent? The reason for Yuan Tianzong's shock came from the rune talisman. He had just received news from the spirit mist realm. The core of the news was Su Fong and the Leaping Heaven Trading Company. That kid is brazenly establishing a faction. I don't believe a disciple like you can establish a faction after betraying the sect. I'll go to the Elder Hall. Yuan Tianzong hurriedly walked into a door and disappeared. Prince Shui also left the hall, but he shook his head inwardly. Fang Yu does have some ability. Last time, I heard he was able to survive from heartless grandma's hands. It seems he's connected to a big shot. Otherwise, how could he establish a faction in the rich continent? The Leaping Heaven sect and the Leaping Heaven Trading Company's Fang Yu have really become a thorn. Snow Wind Continent. At almost the same time, a large number of elders had gathered at the core Dao Plaza. Changsun Ingwei and Heartless Grandma had also personally appeared. That kid still dares to establish a faction in the rich continent. Some of the elders were filled with righteous indignation. Heartless Grandma said gloomily, "Back then, we underestimated that kid and allowed him to escape. Since he's reappeared this time, although he's not in the Zhuotian realm, but in the Spirit Mist realm, we'll ruthlessly destroy his Leaping Heaven sect." The Spirit Mist realm is a bit difficult, especially the rich continent. We're not going to deal with a rich continent. We're going to deal with a trading company, a small faction that has just been established. Immediately send a message to the disciples of the trading company and have them look for the higher-ups of the rich continent. Also, secretly find out more information about Fang Yu, no, Su Fang. This time, we can't let him escape. This kid definitely has more secrets about the Xinjia door. Let's do it this way. At this moment, the elders of the Zuan Pavilion had already decided on a plan. That was to kill their way into the Spirit Mist realm and completely suppress Su Fang. On the other side of the Dao Plaza, Master Wang Yuan's palace. There's news about Su Fang. Several women, including Yuan Ling, were currently following Wang Yuan to deduce a cold qi cultivation technique in the garden, as well as a gem that contained faint immortal qi. Unexpectedly, the news caused Wang Yuan's expression to instantly change. Chapter 594. Wang Yuan ordered the surrounding female disciples to leave and said sadly, "I'm afraid Su Fang will die in the Spirit Mist world this time." Junior sister, Zhang Suning, suddenly walked out of the door. "Elder, Fang Yu appeared in the Spirit Mist world and established a force. You know about it, right?" Disciple just found out. You have to consider the big picture. The sect knows that you treat Xiao Mei as a disciple, but she did not repay everything for the sect and did not fulfill the responsibility of a disciple. I hope you can calm down. This matter has passed, and the sect does not want other disciples to know about it. I understand. The last time we went to the Xinjia gate to train, we secretly sent many experts into the inner immortal formation. In the end, none of them came out, but we could sense their life auras. Now, the sect is preparing to enter the Xinjia gate a second time to rescue our fellow disciples trapped inside. The other is to find the secret of the Dao artifact. There is still a condition to be met. It is rumored that Fang Yu is hiding the secret of the Xinjia gate. It is precisely because of this that we have to capture him. Otherwise, how can we rescue our fellow disciples from the Xinjia gate? Junior sister, you don't have to participate in future operations. Now that you have been promoted to a nominal elder, the elder group will consider making you an official elder or even a grand elder. I know that junior sister has been working hard with the goal of becoming a grand elder. This is the best opportunity. Don't let it go so easily. Everything I said is also the sect's intention. I will go first. I have to immediately arrange for people to go to the Spirit Mist world. Zhang Suning came and left in a hurry, disappearing with the dignity of an elder. Elder, Wang Yuan took a white feather from her waist. The feather was embedded with many spirit stones. It looked like a feather, but it was actually a token refined with spirit stones. This was a token that only an elder could wear. It was also a symbol of Zuan Pavilion and even all the large factions. Many disciples worked hard to cultivate for the sake of this token. However, not every disciple could possess this token. Master, isn't this an elder's token? Could it be that Zhang Lai just came to tell Master that he was going to be promoted to an official elder? Disciple congratulates Master for finally becoming an elder. Yuan Ling and the other girls returned to the garden. Seeing Wang Yuan staring at the token, they were pleasantly surprised. They immediately knelt in front of Wang Yuan and kowtowed to congratulate her. As an elder, my disciples, as well as the other disciples in charge of the dojos, will receive the same fair treatment as the disciples of the other dojos. She tied the token back to her waist and once again practiced Tao techniques with the female disciples. Spirit Mistworld. Cornucopia Continent. High up in the clouds, 100 disciples of the House of Celestial Bestowment were forming a magical door and waiting. This door was huge, almost 1,000 meters long. Buzz! The door of wonders shook from top to bottom. Suddenly, a dazzling starlight gushed out from within. One by one, the celestial ceiling gates disciples flew out. They were all Catastrophe Realm Core disciples. There were more than 5,000 people in total. Behind them were Elder Jin Changkong, Yuan Tianzong, Ling Shua, and the most powerful Elder Xiaoyan. Of course, there was another disciple who was treated like an elder despite not being one. Venerable Dao disciple, Prince Shui. This time, we have to take advantage of this rare opportunity to skin Fang Yu alive. Prince Shui came to the group of disciples. Everyone bowed. It seemed that many of them were members of the Crown Prince faction. Shui Long and the Crown Prince of Great Qing were among them. The two followed behind Prince Shui, appearing to be a fox borrowing the tiger's might. Amidst everyone's politeness and respect for Prince Shui, the two also seemed to feel that their status was much higher than the disciples in front of them. Prince Shui heard Shui Lung's deep voice and suppressed it. You're wrong. On the surface, I'm here to help the sect and the elders suppress Fang Yu. However, I have other plans. Plans? Shui Lung curiously moved closer. Don't ask too much. However, Prince Shui glanced at him, causing him to shrink back in fear. There were more than 5,000 experts. Although most of them were Catastrophe Realm disciples, there were also quite a few Wing Transformation Realm disciples. For example, Prince Shui was among them. In addition, there were even more experts from the Chamber of Commerce coming to join them. There were an estimated 6,000 to 7,000 people. Grand Elder Xiao Yin gathered Yuan Tianzong, Jin Changkong, and Elder Ling Shua. He also allowed Prince Shui to participate. It was unknown what they were discussing. The surrounding disciples could only wait silently in the sky. Grand Elder Xiao Yin suddenly spoke in a serious tone. This time, we want to capture Fang Yu alive. The biggest problem is that there is an absolute expert behind him. We have come prepared. Although we don't have the confidence to defeat him, we have the ability to entangle him. The few of you have to cooperate with the sect disciples and suppress Fang Yu. Elder Ling Shua asked worriedly, will there be any resistance from the Cornucopia continent? Even if there is resistance, they will not protect a defected disciple. We have been cooperating with the Cornucopia continent for many years. Fang Yu definitely cannot be compared to us. I didn't expect this person to be the person who controls the impotence pill that we have been secretly searching for. The faction behind the impotence pill that we are cooperating with is probably controlled by that big shot who rescued Fang Yu. Fang Yu definitely does not have the ability to establish an alchemy faction by himself. Therefore, everyone knows the importance of capturing Fang Yu. First, it is for the immortal Jia Gate. Secondly, it is for the impotence pill's pill formula. If we capture him, the sect will be able to control the impotence pill and let the Cornucopia continent benefit for free. Since that's what the Council of Elders wants, we'll make a secret plan. We'll split into two groups. One group will go and destroy the 5 chambers of commerce that Su Fong has set up in the Rich Continent, while the other group will sneak into Little Sky Demon Island. Ling Shua, bring a group of people to the Cornucopia continent and destroy the sky-surpassing Chamber of Commerce. After Grand Elder Xiao Yun communicated with a few people, he immediately started to move. After giving the order, Elder Ling Shua gathered a few hundred people and immediately rushed towards the Cornucopia continent in the distant water region. The remaining disciples rested for a while and immediately followed Grand Elder Xiao Yun, Yuan Tianzong, Jin Changkong, and Prince Shui with killing intent. They entered the depths of the water region according to the coordinates recorded on the map. Yuan Tianzong glanced to the right. Crown Prince, Are you really going to secretly suppress Fang Yu? This child is very useful to me. Moreover, he has opposed me several times. I will slowly torture him to death. As for his treasures, this disciple will give them to you. Prince Shui secretly nodded. Haha, fine. I want his treasures, you want his secrets. The two secretly worked together. On the surface, they were representing the immortal sealing sect, but in reality, they were using every opportunity to secretly obtain benefits. Who would be so foolish as to wholeheartedly work for the immortal sealing sect? Little Sky Devil Island. The entire island had been sealed by a barrier. Wang Zhong brought experts to patrol the surroundings. Master, Su Fang suddenly flew out of the formation. Wang Zhong and many experts knelt down to welcome him. The enemy is here. It's the aura of the immortal sealing sect and the Zuan Pavilion. They are so aggressive. They want to destroy the sky-surpassing sect. This is a major power. So what? Since I established the sky-surpassing sect, I'm not worried about them. This is not the sky-surpassing realm, and I'm not that old disciple. Just wait here. Su Fang looked around, especially the sky, then returned to the formation. Li Zuqing and Li Haojie were already waiting inside the formation. When they heard that the immortal sealing sect and the Zuan Pavilion were coming, they were furious. They were clearly trying to kill them all. The three of them discussed for a while, and Li Zuqing sensed the aura of a peerless expert. If Li Zuqing could sense it, then Su Fang could sense it even more clearly. He then sneered, "It should be the Zuan Pavilion's heartless grandma. What a profound cultivation base. She's actually comparable to the Green Lotus Sword sect's Grand Elder. As expected of the Zuan Pavilion, they really do have a foundation. I heard that this crazy woman was in existence that killed without batting an eyelid. I've also seen how powerful she is. Senior, this time, our plan is to defend and let them attack. I've already secretly transformed most of the dojo's boundaries into the 8 origin spiritual elephant formation." Good. Didn't you say that you've already upgraded the 8 origin spirit elephant formation's core dharma treasure to the king grade? That way, you can bring out the 8 origin spirit elephant formation's true power. This formation can both attack and defend, said Li Haojie. I don't believe that with our strength, we'll still be afraid of 2 large sects in the spirit mist realm. I, Su Fang, am no longer the old disciple. They can't control my fate. If they want to kill me, I'll just use poison and dharma treasures. How would they know that we have so many experts here? Just as the 3 of them were talking, they all felt a pressure coming from above the minor sky Devil Island. It wasn't the immortal sealing sect that had come, but the Zuan Pavilion. The leader was the white-haired, heartless grandma. Behind her were Zhang Suning and several other elders. There were over 10,000 people. Whoosh! At almost the same time, a large number of people flew over from the other side of the clouds. Heartless Grandma signaled for all the disciples to slow down. In the blink of an eye, she locked onto Grand Elder Xiao Yun, who was flying at the front of the immortal sealing sect's disciples. What a brat, Xiao Yun. The immortal sealing sect really came at the right time. I thought we'd be a step faster. Zhang Suning swept his gaze over them. He was unhappy to see several elders from the immortal sealing sect. The immortal sealing sect's experts were naturally sizing up the Zuan Pavilion's experts. It's that heartless grandma. Last time, I almost died to her. Elder Ling Shuo was furious. I've also sensed her strength. Her cultivation has reached the peak of perfection. I reckon that in the entire sect, only the leader is a match for her. Everyone is also afraid of this devil. She's just an old woman struggling at death's door. She can't attain the Tao and can't ascend. That's why she's staying in this small world. Grand Elder Xiao Yun waved his arm, telling the disciples to slow down. The thousands of experts slowly flew at the same speed as the Zuan Pavilion. It would take them some time to get close to the minor heavenly Devil Island. The 2 powers had already formed an invisible barrier. Can we let them fight first? We'll just sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. Within the formation, Li Zuqing's cold expression carried a strange smile. They're not here to kill you. If they were, they would have already attacked. They're probably here to capture you. For the immortal Jean Gate, you're willing to let them fight each other. Buzz. Su Fong was just about to say what he was thinking when a talisman moved. When he activated it, Yu Yingying's voice rang out. Brat, you're causing trouble again. No, I'm just obediently staying on the minor heavenly devil island to refine pills. He feigned ignorance. Your mouth isn't so bad anymore. The Immortal Sealing Sect and Zhuan Pavilion's merchant associations, as well as their disciples, are openly attacking the Transcendence Heaven Trading Association and taking away all their pills. That's just my personal grudge. It's just that I brought trouble to the bountiful continent. Damn it. My lord, please give me some time to think of a countermeasure. Once I have a plan, I'll deal with the two powers. You think of a plan, but they're already here. I won't be able to make it in time. Fine. I've never seen a man as thick-skinned as you. Don't try to be fake with me. What fake? It's real. Just focus on refining pills. I'll protect the Transcendence Heaven Trading Association. Those two powers have already joined the bountiful Lush Merchant Association, so I'll immediately have them come forward. But you can deal with your own problems. Yu Yingying snorted impatiently, and the talisman quieted down. Chapter 595. As the runes calmed down, Li Ziqing sighed. The richly lush continent's power is truly shocking. They already know what's going on here. Li Haojie said in admiration. That powerful master of the richly lush continent must have set up some kind of sensing formation here long ago. It's fused with the origin, so they'll be able to sense anything. Yu Yingying knows what I'm thinking, and I know what she's thinking. It's just like what we planned when we first came here. She's helping me protect the Transcending Heaven Trading Association, which is like protecting her own interests. The demand for aphrodisiac pills has long exceeded the supply. Without protecting the trading association, how will she make money? Su Fong said, Senior, cooperate with me in using the 8 Origin Soul Elephant Formation. All right, that heartless granny's name has long resounded throughout the magnificent heaven world. To be honest, I really want to fight her. Although I don't have absolute confidence in defeating her, I don't think she'll be able to surpass me. Su Fong flashed to the top of the formation. Li Ziqing smiled and released a shocking amount of dermic power and true qi to absorb the runes of the formation. He took the entire little sky devil island into his palm. At the same time, Li Haojie released the Yuan suppressing fiend heavenly scripture's power and merged it into their control. Heartless Granny, Chang Suning, Grand Elder Xiao Yun, and Jin Changkong, do you think that I, Su Fong, can be squashed like an ant? Don't blame me for being ruthless when I use my true power. He could clearly see the two factions flying down. He was already confident that he could protect himself. It was fine as long as the trading association was fine. High up in the sky, the Celestial Sealing Gate's disciples stopped 30 meters above the transcending Heaven Sex barrier. Grand Elder Xiao Yun looked at the Zhuan Pavilion a few miles away. Heartless Granny, this is the spirit mist world. Do you still want to fight with us? Chang Sun Ying stood up. We're not here to fight with the Celestial Sealing Gate. We just want to capture Fong Yu. Then let's see how strong you are, replied Grand Elder Xiao Yun. He then gathered a few higher-ups. Once we break through the barrier, we have to capture Fong Yu immediately. If the Zhuan Pavilion stops us, then kill them. 10,000 divine rune talisman. Jin Changkong led hundreds of disciples and charged out. Yuan Tianzong, Prince Shui, Great Elder Xiao Yun, and most of the disciples were waiting. A few hundred people were more than enough to destroy a disciples' faction. Boom! However, Zhuan Pavilion was one step ahead. The grand formation, formed by 1,000 people, contained the supreme power of formations. It condensed into a beam of sword qi and slashed at the barrier of the little sky devil island. Oh, I've underestimated Fong Yu. The Sky Source Sex barrier is actually as high as our sex barrier. The huge tremor caused Jin Changkong and Yuan Tianzong to turn pale with fright. The attack of 1,000 people from the Zhuan Pavilion had actually failed to destroy the Heaven Crossing Sex Dao field. and this place was built by a disciple of the Celestial Sealing School. Jin Zhangkong gathered a few hundred more people and formed a 1,000-man formation. Under the 10,000 deities formation's runes, waves after waves of pure yellow sword chi slammed into the transcending heaven-sex Tao Field's barrier. 8. Origin Transformation. The sword chi that struck the Tao Field and the great force of profound Lady Pavilion's formation seemed to have struck the Tao Field's barrier heavily. But in fact, Su Fong controlled the 8 Origin Divine Elephant formation to absorb most of the great force into the Tao Field. As a result, the Tao Field's barrier was only able to withstand a portion of the attack, while the majority of the attack landed on the mountains and forests of the island. This was the beauty of the 8 Origin Soul Image formation. If it was an ordinary formation, it would be able to transform the attack through space. But if it wasn't controlled by a peerless power, it wouldn't be able to use such a divine ability. How did Fong Yu become so strong? I really regret it. Back in the Celestial Sealing School, I shouldn't have gotten rid of him. A series of attacks continued, causing huge waves to rise around the island. Many disciples of the Celestial Sealing School remained silent. They had personally witnessed how powerful the once peerless genius of the Celestial Sealing School was now. This was something they hadn't even dared to imagine. What were the disciples of the 3 sovereign Daos? If they were allowed to establish their own faction with Su Fong's cultivation base at the 2nd level of Calamity, would they be able to withstand the attacks of 2 factions? The answer was absolute. The ones who wanted Su Fong dead the most were Xue Long and the Crown Prince of the Great Qin Kingdom. Their intestines were green with regret. It wasn't just them. Prince Xue also felt the same. Although Prince Xue hadn't made a move yet, shock appeared in his eyes. It's only been a few decades since the Tao Field Challenge, but his strength has already reached such a height. I thought I'd be able to get rid of him once I reached the Wing Transformation realm and returned to the Zhuotian realm. But no matter how much of a genius he is, I have no choice but to admit that he's a genius. Perhaps none of us can compare to you, but you're courting death by offending 2 great sects, and you also know the secret of a Xinjia Gate. Whoosh! The huge waves seemed to be about to swallow Little Sky Devil Island. The 2 factions were attacking the Sky Source sect's barrier from the left and right. From the looks of it, they were determined to destroy the Sky Source sect. Li Ziqing withdrew his profound gaze. Brat, we can't do this. The power of our attacks has all landed on the island. If this continues, the island will soon be razed to the ground. Without the island, the barrier won't be able to last much longer. That was because he had seen the situation of the island below. Many mountains and forests have been destroyed. Su Fong began to analyze the situation, and he quickly came to a decision. And here I thought the 2 factions would be holding back, or perhaps they were afraid of the Spirit Mist World. But it seems they really want to kill me. Then I'll purposely let a portion of their people in and then use the 8 Origin Soul Elephant formation to seal the island and eliminate them. Now that things have reached this point, the 2 factions have no choice but to kill you. You're a sect master, so it's time for you to have such a murderous heart. If you don't, how will you be able to establish yourself in the Spirit Mist World? In the future, you'll be able to control a minor world, said Li Ziqing. 8 Origin Transformation. After sending out a large number of seals, the barrier of the dojo that the 2 factions were attacking suddenly began to change. Whoosh! The Immortal Sealing Sect and Zhuan Pavilion's attacks seemed to shatter the formation, and they directly entered the barrier. However, the barrier still hadn't completely shattered. Kill! The 2 factions wouldn't wait for the formation to completely shatter and reveal the island before attacking. Half of the experts on both sides took advantage of this opportunity to fly toward the 2 large holes in the barrier. Master! At the top of the formation, Su Fong sat on the head of the water snake big goblin, while Li Ziqing and Li Haojie stood behind him. More than 30 commanders flew out and knelt in front of the Vermilion Emperor. Su Fong nodded, and the Vermilion Emperor looked at the power of the attacking formation in front of him. His body instantly transformed into a 30-meter-tall pig horse king. The wrath of the demon god spewed out of his mouth and circled in front of him. Buzz! Buzz! Buzz. The 30 commanders poured their demonic chi into the Vermilion Emperor's body. The Vermilion Emperor was indeed an ancient divine beast. He could devour and control the strength of the commanders. After absorbing so much demonic chi, the Vermilion Emperor's magic power and demonic chi increased several times. The wrath of the demon god was even burning. At this moment, a red-robed man transformed from the 9 segments Earth Dragon said, "Master, I can kill many cultivators. When the time comes, you can use your strength to deal with heartless grandma." The Vermilion Emperor's strength is already astonishing. With the true chi provided by the 30 commanders and the Tao artifact, even if the 2 major forces came, they would not be able to resist the Tao artifact's offensive power. Su Fang's face was expressionless. "Today, I will go on a killing spree and let the 2 major forces know that I am not weak. Instead, I will make them feel afraid and uneasy." Li Ziqing laughed at the back. "That's how it should be. Otherwise, if you think that anyone can trample on you and force the 2 major forces to retreat, even the forces of the rich lush continent will look at you differently. This will be the battle that will establish your foothold in the rich lush continent." After speaking, Li Ziqing began to control the barrier of the entire training ground. Kill. The 2 groups of disciples from the 2 major forces entered the formation. In fact, Su Fang used the 8 Origin Soul Elephant formation to appear in the space of the formation. They also noticed Su Fang. In the turbulent formation, they flew towards him from the left and right. Su Fang was incomparably familiar with magic treasures and divine abilities. The Daluo Heaven Sword Chi, Goldie's Heavenly Divinity Energy, Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw, and the special Cold Chi of the Zuan Pavilion were all familiar to him. Whirlwind scattered clouds. At this moment, the Vermilion Emperor's true strength was finally displayed by Su Fang. He was one of Su Fang's trump cards. He was a peerless divine beast and also had a Tao artifact. The Vermilion Emperor spat out a demonic light. This demonic light caused the wrath of the demon god to suddenly turn into a circular burning flame in the turbulent formation. ZZZ, 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 ZZZ. The wrath of the demon god suddenly turned into a burning flame and fiercely shot towards the center of the 2 major forces. Then, the burning whip suddenly unfolded and slashed in the air, causing a series of crackling explosions. Then, it took the opportunity to attack the disciples of the 2 major forces. The whip carried the might of the burning Tao artifact. It was like an aura that could destroy eternity, sweeping across the sky. The Vermilion Emperor had probably used 1/3 of the wrath of the demon god's power. The disciples of the 2 major forces could only vaguely see the figures of Su Fang and the others. Suddenly, they saw a beam of demonic fire that was more dazzling than a rainbow. It was like a legendary fire dragon that pounced towards them. They retreated in fear. Some of them took out their Dharma treasures to defend themselves. A terrifying scene occurred. Before the dragon-like demonic flame could reach him, an indescribable destructive might suddenly swept over him. Boom! Boom! One by one, the disciples were crushed into minced meat. The minced meat was still fine. Some of them were directly burned into powder. First, a large number of disciples of the Zuan Pavilion were swept over by the fire dragon demonic fire. They were directly crushed in a large area. Everywhere that was crushed was destroyed. Not a single one of them survived. Not a single one of their corpses was left intact. Wherever the wrath of the demon god went, the divine might that came first had already killed hundreds of disciples of the Zuan Pavilion. When the wrath of the demon god swept past, the minced meat was reduced to dust. Run! When the experts of the celestial sealing sect saw this, Jin Chongkong shouted and immediately ran for his life. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the disciples of the Zuan Pavilion were killed. The ones who died were at the rear. When it came to the disciples at the front, they were like ants on a hot pan. They already knew how powerful the wrath of the demon god was. Under the suppression of the divine might, they were crushed into powder in a breath. When Li Ziqing saw that most of the experts of the two forces were crushed, he couldn't help but clap his hands and cheer. Awesome! This is a massacre. Li Haojie finally realized Su Feng's true strength. It was too terrifying. With such strength, who could kill him? He looked forward again. The wrath of the demon god swept past the formation where the disciples of the celestial sealing sect were and killed almost 600 people. It was much better than the Zhuan Pavilion. More than 1,000 people of the Zhuan Pavilion died. At this moment, the surviving experts of the celestial sealing sect quickly ran for their lives and flew out of the formation. After the Vermilion Emperor killed those people, his demonic body became 3 feet larger. It seemed that killing people would make him even more powerful. Chapter 596. In just a moment, more than 1,000 people from the two factions had died. Li Ziqing clicked his tongue. Kid, your ability to control demons will help you dominate a region in the future. When that time comes, even the Xinyuan Empire won't be able to stop you. A sweep. Such a domineering method didn't come from the Immortal Sealing Sect or the Zhuan Pavilion, but from Su Feng, who had been at a disadvantage before. But now, it seemed that the two factions from the Zhuotian realm had become the weaker ones. Those who try to kill me will be killed by me. Unfortunately, those cultivators' Dharma treasures were all destroyed by my Tao item. That Pig Horse King is really amazing. He has a Tao item and can release such a terrifying Tao item's power. Haha, kid, with your ability, these two factions will remember you forever. I don't just want them to remember me. I want them to be afraid of me. Only by being afraid of me can I make their endless greed not dare to appear in front of me. After saying that, Su Feng shouted at the Pig Horse King. Vermilion Emperor, continue to sweep the remaining cultivators. Yes, master. Leave it to me. The Pig Horse King once again shot out demonic chi, sweeping away the demon god's fury. The Tao item's power once again swept towards the fleeing disciples of the two factions. Outside, Yuan Tianzong, an elder of the Immortal Sealing Sect, was personally leading a number of disciples into the formation. Suddenly, he saw a few disciples running for their lives. He shouted angrily, "What's going on? Why are you all running back?" Several more people flew out. The leader was Jin Changkong. He immediately met with Yuan Tianzong and the others and said with a panicked expression, "Brother Yuan, don't go in." Jin Changkong was an elder. How could he be in such a sorry state like an ordinary disciple? The big goblin, a Tao item. Yuan Tianzong was also shocked after hearing about it. A big goblin with a Tao item only needed one move to kill more than 1,000 disciples of the two factions. The two elders didn't delay any longer and immediately retreated with their disciples. Zhuan Pavilion. The disciples of the Zhuan Pavilion had also escaped from the hole in the barrier of the transcending Heaven Sect's Tao field. Their numbers were even greater than those of the Celestial Sealing Sect. Elder Zhang Sun Ying received Heartless Grandma's decree and led more than 1,000 disciples to attack the enchantment. Without asking anything, he ordered the disciples who had escaped to return to the enchantment. All of you, stop right there. He grabbed a few disciples and asked them clearly, but they couldn't speak clearly. They stammered, inside, there's big goblin, there's trash. All of you are trash. Zhang Sun Ying was enraged, shaking away the disciples that had escaped. Then, he led the disciples and continued to charge into the formation. After losing nearly 1,000 disciples, where did Feng Yu get a big goblin? And a big goblin that can use a Tao artifact. Immortal Sealing Sect. Jin Zhangkong went up to First Elder Xiao Yun, Prince Shui, and the rest of the authorities and explained everything he had seen and encountered inside the barrier. How evil was the Vermilion Emperor? How powerful was he? Ruo Tong was like a mountain. Then, he controlled a fiery Tao treasure to kill those who blocked his path. First Elder Xiao Yun didn't believe it and was skeptical. Prince Shui and Yuan Tianzong were the same. Jin Zhangkong looked at the enchantment warily. You all know that Feng Yu released a shocking amount of demonic chi when he escaped from the sect. I just didn't expect him to have such a powerful big goblin. Yuan Tianzong said, if that's really the case, then even if we came prepared, we wouldn't be able to defeat Feng Yu. I think we should wait for a while and let the Zuin Pavilion deal with Feng Yu. If they can break through the Transcending Heaven sect and injure Feng Yu, then we'll just charge in and snatch it. We'll do as Junior Brother Yuan says. Pass down the order for all disciples to wait for further orders. Grand Elder Xiao Yin was starting to feel more and more apprehensive. On the Zuin Pavilion side, Zhang Sun Ying led more than 1,000 disciples and charged into the enchantment once again. More than 1,000 people, in addition to the several hundred people who had escaped, almost 2,000 people charged into the enchantment. However, they were blocked by the churning enchantment and various astral winds. However, on Su Feng's side, Li Ziqing saw everything clearly. Zhang Sun Ying, the Zuin Pavilion's elder. I've heard of him before, but I've never met him. However, there aren't many men in the Zuin Pavilion's elders. This person is vicious and merciless. I've met him before. If we can kill him, then we can't let him go, said Su Feng to Emperor Zhu. Everyone, be careful. Release your defenses and advance step by step. Up ahead, Zhang Suning led 2,000 disciples. Whether it was the disciples who had escaped or the new disciples, they all felt uneasy. They felt that there was a trap waiting for them. As an elder, Zhang Suning was very knowledgeable and powerful. He didn't fear the enchantment of a newly established enchantment. It really is the big goblin. All of a sudden, they seemed to have arrived at the center of the enchantment. Many disciples pointed forward. Their eyes were filled with uneasiness. Some of the disciples' teeth were chattering. They saw a ball of demonic chi flames, but they couldn't see what kind of big goblin it was. Mystic Ice Sky Snow Sword. All the Zuin Pavilion disciples formed hand seals at the same time. Wrath of the Demon God. Emperor Zhu roared. His ferocious voice suddenly shook. Above the 2,000 disciples of Xian Nu Pavilion, a huge and boundless burning demonic flame suddenly descended. Tao Artifact Divine Might. When Zhang Sun Ying saw the demonic fire, his face suddenly changed. While the disciples were forming hand seals, he actually took a step back first. How shameless. It's the misfortune of any sect that such a person became an elder. I really overestimated you. Su Feng used his perfection stage ability and could see the movements of every disciple. He was most concerned about Zhang Sun Ying's movements, who knew that this person, as an elder, would actually escape after sensing the terrifying divine might of the demon god's wrath. Boom! The wrath of the demon god was a Tao artifact. Its divine might was invincible. Emperor Zhu had already prepared his attack. Now it hit the large amount of cold sword chi and directly shattered it. It also hit the center of the 2,000 disciples with an unstoppable force. The divine might of the Tao artifact immediately spread to both sides. The disciples that were hit by the wrath of the demon god were immediately turned into powder and dissolved into the churning dust. The divine might of the Tao artifact spread to both sides. A large number of disciples formed a defense, but it was useless. Under the attack of the Tao artifact, they were all smashed into pieces. Some superior-grade Dharma treasures were directly shattered. The closer the Zuin Pavilion disciples were to the side, the luckier they were. They were directly overturned. Under the divine might of the Tao artifact blocked by the disciples in front, they only suffered less than 1/10 of its destructive power. But only a few hundred disciples were so lucky. Even if they didn't die, they were severely injured. When the island was shaking, they used their Dharma treasures to escape. Tao artifact. Heartless Grandma and the higher-ups of the Zuin Pavilion waited for it to disappear. Her senses were extraordinary. She already knew that the inside was filled with a vast divine might of the Tao artifact. It's not the Tao artifact that Feng Yu used last time. It's an evil Tao artifact of the demon race. She became gloomy again. Not only was the Zuin Pavilion waiting for news, but the immortal sealing sect was also waiting. At this moment, both sides saw Zhang Sun Ying fly out alone. None of the disciples behind him made it out alive. He came in front of heartless grandma and countless expectant disciples. Fanyu had already set up an ambush below. He purposely let us kill our way in. Then, he used the Tao artifact that was in ambush. He used the big goblin to activate it. In addition to the mysterious changing array shackles, the Tao artifact could crush any cultivator inside. Heartless grandma said coldly, "This kid controlled 2 Tao artifacts. The power of this demon artifact is indeed terrifying. Grandma can feel its power even from outside." "Grandma, we've already lost 2,000 disciples. We can't have any more casualties. If we let them kill their way into the array, they'll just die in front of the Tao artifact. We can't just leave like this. We have to vent our anger. Order all the disciples to release the array runes. Even if we can't kill Fangyu, we have to turn this little sky devil island into ashes." "All right." Zhang Sun Ying immediately did as he was told. Wait a moment. He had just turned around when several buzzing sounds came from the upper echelon's bodies. Everyone immediately took out their runes. When they learned that the Tao artifact had disappeared, they couldn't believe it. Zhang Sun Ying returned to Heartless Grandma. The bountiful lush Chamber of Commerce is actually protecting the sky traversing trading firm. They forced us and the immortal sealing sex disciples out of the bountiful lush continent. How is that possible? We've been cooperating with the bountiful lush continent for tens of thousands of years. According to them, the sky-traversing trading firm also joined the bountiful lush Chamber of Commerce, so they have the right to be protected. That's bullshit. Did we underestimate the sky-traversing trading firm too much? For them to be able to get protection so quickly, it must be related to the impotence pill. At least for now, we can confirm that the impotence pill is directly related to the Su Fong. I heard that the impotence pill sales have been booming recently, and the bountiful lush Chamber of Commerce took 10% of the profits. So that's how it is. Su Fong really has someone behind them. Otherwise, they would be able to establish a trading firm in the bountiful lush continent and the sky-traversing sect here in just a few years. The immortal sealing sect has become the laughingstock of the Zhua Tian domain. The impotence pill that they cooperated with actually came from their own disciple. Continue to issue orders to destroy the little sky devil island. Only Heartless Grandma's expression didn't change. She was overseeing this place, so she wouldn't manage the trading firm. She was here for the Xinjia Gate. Buzz, buzz, buzz. After the upper echelon issued the orders, all the disciples began to throw out their runes. It would be best if the Zuin Pavilion could destroy the array formation. That way, we can take advantage of it. But Fanyu isn't related to the bountiful lush continent. He established the sky-traversing trading firm and even received the protection of the bountiful lush trading firm. The disciples that we sent over were all expelled from the continent. If the bountiful lush continent was really related to him, why didn't he send people over earlier? Grand Elder Xiao Yun, Jin Changkong, Yuan Tianzong, and the other upper echelons sneered in their hearts. They hoped that the Zuin Pavilion could destroy the array formation. Prince Shui secretly stared below. Su Fong, you're getting more and more surprised. Do you still have allies in the spiritual mist world? Inside the little sky devil island, Master Zhu Huang brought over 30 commanders and knelt down in front of Su Fong. Zuin Pavilion wants to use the power of thousands of disciples to attack us using the array formation. Su Fong said domineeringly, "I will use the power of the 8 origin divine elephant array to help you activate the wrath of the fiend god. This time, we don't need to defend. Instead, we need to directly destroy the power of the Zuin Pavilion. Let's go." After saying that, he immediately formed a hand seal, and an altar-like array formation appeared and lifted them up. In an instant, they appeared in the sky-traversing sex array formation. Looking up, they saw the power of thousands of disciples from the Zuin Pavilion. Fangyu. No, he's now Su Fong. The thousands of disciples from the celestial sealing sect were shocked by Su Fong's appearance. He had once been a disciple of the sovereign Tao, and now he was the leader of a faction. It had to be known that not long ago, they had all been disciples of the same sect. Such a thought entered each disciple's heart, and they all felt a stabbing pain. They didn't hate Su Fong. They had only come to the spiritual mist world to deal with Su Fong in accordance with the sect's orders. In truth, they still found it hard to accept that Su Fong's identity was no longer the same as before. Heartless grandma, you crazy woman, you couldn't kill me last time, and now you've come to the spiritual mist world. Don't forget that this isn't the Zhua Tian world. Su Fong roared towards the sky. Chapter 597. He sneered disdainfully at heartless grandma. Your Zuan Pavilion's power isn't enough to be arrogant here. If you want to kill me and destroy my Heaven Crossing sect, it'll depend on how much ability you have. However, I can see the result. If my Heaven Crossing sect continues to expand in the Spirit Mist realm, your Zuan Pavilion will have no choice but to flee back to the Zhuetian realm. One of the higher-ups of the Zuan Pavilion immediately mocked. This kid is so crazy. He's already fallen to the Devil Dao. Grandma, kill him. Kill the devil. The other Zuan Pavilion disciples were also furious. Heartless Grandma was a supreme antique of the Zuan Pavilion. Even when she came to the Spirit Mist realm, she was still respected by all the cultivators. However, a junior cultivator had provoked her in front of so many people. The Zuan Pavilion disciples naturally couldn't stand it. Although Su Fong is now a traitor of the sect, ignoring the Zuan Pavilion and heartless grandma is really satisfying. If he was still a venerated Dao disciple of the sect, he would have already become one of the 4 venerated Dao disciples. Even the current 3 venerated Dao disciples wouldn't dare to be so arrogant in front of heartless grandma. Well reprimanded. Our sect's prestige has increased. Immortal Sealing Sect. At this moment, most of the disciples were secretly applauding Su Fong's actions. When the higher-ups heard this, they were furious. It had to be known that a moment ago, a large number of Immortal Sealing Sect disciples had died at Su Fong's hands. However, the Zuan Pavilion was in the Zhuetian realm. Their overall strength was greater than the Immortal Sealing Sect. Everything they did was trampled on the Immortal Sealing Sect's head. For Su Fong to ignore the Zuan Pavilion and provoke the strongest heartless grandma was indeed a comfort to the disciples. At this moment, they really wished that Su Fong was still a venerated Dao disciple of the Immortal Sealing Sect. Little brat, kill. Heartless grandma was furious. She took out a staff and waved it at the thousands of disciples. Chi, the countless runes that had been thrown out before suddenly merged into a ball. It was like the accumulated leaves of the runes. A bolt of white lightning shot out from within. The talisman power of thousands of disciples of Zuan Pavilion condensed into this white lightning. Together with Heartless Granny's power, it attacked the barrier of Little Sky Devil Island and Su Fong's group. The sizzling sound of white lightning piercing through the air was enough to show how domineering this attack was. Even the Zuan Pavilion disciples couldn't help but retreat higher up in the sky. Zuan Pavilion indeed came prepared. Great Elder Xiao Yun suddenly withdrew his gaze. Such an attack is enough to break the barrier of any force. Although Soaring Heaven Sect's barrier is extraordinary, it has not yet reached the standard of a first-rate force. Jin Changkong, who was at the side, glared coldly. Kill and break the formation. We must be the first to capture Fong Yu alive. Zhu Huang, inside the barrier of Little Sky Devil Island. The white lightning had already reached 100 meters above them. Su Fong, Li Ziqing, and Li Haojie felt an intense pressure. Only Li Ziqing could resist such an attack. Su Fong couldn't do it at his level. Chi. Zhu Huang absorbed the power of dozens of commanders hidden inside the formation and suddenly released the wrath of the demon god. This time, the wrath of the demon god flew out with a sizzling sound. The long whip was like a falling meteor as it streaked across the sky. Then, it collided with the white lightning like thunder, causing rumbling sounds to echo out. The white lightning seemed like it was going to destroy everything. However, the wrath of the demon god was controlled by Zhu Huang and many other commanders. In addition, it was a supreme Tao artifact that was hard and indestructible. It forcefully blocked the white lightning in midair. The two forces were almost shattered at the same time. The destructive power of the lightning and the Tao artifact's divine aura was like a meteor crashing into a river of stars. The entire little sky devil island was covered by the flames. Fortunately, the Tao artifact's divine aura prevented the flames from exploding on the island below. Instead, they swept in all directions. The water around Little Sky Devil Island burned, forming a giant wave that was 10,000 meters tall. It was like a giant wall that pushed deeper into the water. A large number of creatures living in the water were burned to death or shaken to death. This giant wave would probably flatten many of the surrounding islands. However, Little Sky Devil Island wasn't affected at all by the Tao artifact's divine aura. Su Fong was also secretly controlling the 8-origin divine elephant formation. Su Fong looked at Zhu Huang in front of him. You did well this time. Zhu Huang, you betrayed me last time. I should have demoted you to a slave forever. However, as long as you are loyal, you will regain your freedom one day. Zhu Huang's regretful look was indescribable. He originally thought that with his ability and strength, he could control Su Fong, who had entered a berserk state. However, he didn't expect that he would be completely suppressed in the end. Let's go. This force is too terrifying, especially the Tao artifact's divine aura. The higher-ups of Zuan's Pavilion ordered their disciples to fly toward the clouds. The two major forces were almost swallowed by this explosion. They quickly left the central area before the flames completely exploded. The flames would still explode fiercely. In just a few breaths of time, after the two forces had traveled tens of thousands of miles away, the waves of flames finally exploded and rose into the sky. It was like a dazzling white mushroom cloud that instantly remained in the sky outside the fertile continent. At this moment, the richly fertile continent and the surrounding water regions could clearly see and sense this earth-shattering destructive power. My lord, Little Sky Devil Island, Zhuotian Domain's immortal sealing sect, and Zuan Pavilion have caused such a huge commotion. Are we not going to show ourselves? A battle of this level can still destroy any force or island. Even a small continent will be turned into ruins. In the sky above the fertile continent, after a mystical door appeared, Yu Yingying, under the protection of many experts, stared at the dazzling mushroom cloud in the depths of the water in front of her. Yu Yingying said, I want to see how much weight Su Fong and his Heaven Crossing sect have. Yes, they're indeed at the level of a first-rate force. Obviously, the two major forces can't do anything to the Heaven Crossing sect and will immediately leave. If they don't leave, you guys can go out and ask them to leave. If they don't listen, they can forget about coming to the Spirit Mist world in the future. The surrounding experts agreed. That's right. With such a huge commotion, the continents around the Spirit Mist world will definitely know about it. If we don't do something, more forces will feel that they can do whatever they want in the fertile continent. At this moment, Yu Yingying and the others were looking at the water region of Little Sky Devil Island. There was a huge wave that could topple mountains and overturn seas. It was unknown how many islands and small continents were affected. This destructive wave almost reached the fertile continent. While Yu Yingying was still paying attention to the commotion in front of her, a thought appeared in her mind. Disciple, my fertile continent hasn't been so lively in a long time. She asked with great respect, Master, why do you care so much about Su Fong, a disciple from the Immortal Sealing Sect? Could it be because of that powerful Immortal Sealing Sect's sect master? Immortal Sealing Sect's sect master is indeed an anomaly. After cultivating for 10,000 years, he was able to reach such heights, surpassing the majority of the leaders of the major forces. Although he came to visit me several times, I didn't give him any face. It's because this Su Fong has an extremely shocking world's origin energy on him. He is able to form the power of heaven, earth, and man in my fertile continent. Even the origin energy of the fertile continent has acknowledged him. Could it be that Master thinks this Su Fong will become a world lord in the future? Most likely. I've lived for so many years, and I can't be wrong. Immortal Sealing Sect Master isn't as outstanding as Su Fong. How many peerless characters want to become a world lord? Even immortals are the same. But in the end, how many of them are able to do so? I don't know which world lord passed down the world's origin energy to him, or if he relied on himself to cultivate to such heights. In any case, he will become a world lord in the future. Master, do you have any other instructions? I've heard that there's an evil power that is currently infiltrating the major worlds and minor worlds. The entire world is being affected by this evil power. The Spirit Mist world is the result of me and your Grandmaster's painstaking efforts. That's why it has reached its current level of prosperity. In the past, the world lords were still considered peaceful, and there was rarely any killing or plundering of minor worlds. But in the future, it's hard to say. My Spirit Mist world needs allies and also new friends. When Su Fong becomes a world lord in the future, my Spirit Mist world will have an additional helper. Even if he becomes a world lord, without at least 1,000,000 years of fusion and cultivation, he will only be considered the weakest world lord. He won't have much of an impact on us. I've carefully released my senses to observe Su Fong. He has many secrets on him. I estimate that he has only cultivated for 200 years. Have you ever seen someone who only cultivated for a few hundred years reach the Ascension realm? Disciple is slow-witted. In the future, I will handle my relationship with Su Fong. Help me send an order to the other 6 world lords of the Spirit Mist world. This storm will be resolved by the rich, lush continent. The other 6 world lords don't need to participate. Disciple understands. Yu Yingying was alone. She slowly opened her eyes. In her eyes, there seemed to be a man's image. This illusory figure dissipated in a split second like a circle of waves. Yu Yingying's pupils rippled until it disappeared. Grandma, that was close. Look at the islands and the surrounding water. They have all been turned into ruins. The dazzling mushroom cloud slowly disappeared. Far away, the thousands of disciples of the Zuan Pavilion were unable to calm down. They were still in shock. Many disciples believed that they had participated in that destructive attack. They had truly witnessed the power of the Zuan Pavilion and felt lucky to be able to join such a powerful faction. Zhang Suning and a few higher-ups floated around Heartless Grandma. They saw that under the mushroom cloud, a corner of the Little Sky Devil Island was actually intact. Heartless Grandma glanced to the left. Dozens of li away, she could vaguely see the Immortal Sealing Sect. This should have alarmed the 6 world lords of the Spirit Mist world. Those 6 world lords are no longer mortals. If this continues, the 6 world lords of the rich, lush continent will definitely appear. At that time, it will be hard to avoid falling out. A third of our Zuan Pavilion's profits come from the rich, lush continent. If we lose the Spirit Mist world, our sect will enter a period of depression. Yes, when the higher-ups heard this, they were unwilling. After all, they now had enough resources to once again make things difficult for Su Fong and exterminate the Heaven Crossing sect. When the Xian Guang exploded, the thousands of disciples could only fly towards the sky. Elder Xiao, it seems that the Zuan Pavilion has retreated. Is that so? They are probably afraid of the rich, lush continent. Without the Zuan Pavilion, how much effort would it take for us to take down the Heaven Crossing sect? Elder Xiao Yun looked at the higher-ups and immediately made a decision. If the rich, lush continent really appears, it will definitely affect the sect. We will also retreat. Let's go. The remaining 4,000 disciples of the Immortal Sealing Sect also flew away with the higher-ups. Forefather, are we just going to let Su Fong go like this? Some people were still unwilling. Shui Lung and the Crown Prince of Great Qing came to Prince Shui's side and asked, "It's not that the sect doesn't have the power to exterminate Su Fong. It's just that the attack just now was world-shaking. Think about it. If the rich, lush continent's powers came, the the consequences would be unbearable. The Sex Foundation is less than 20,000 years old. You want Su Fong to die, and so does the Zuan Pavilion. In the future, the Zuan Pavilion won't let him off so easily. The best part is yet to come. Look at the future. When the two powers can't exterminate him, when my Crown Prince society develops, we will be able to kill Su Fong. Prince Shui ordered the two to calm down and followed the group out of the spirit mist world. Chapter 598. The little sky Devil Island was still in a precarious situation. Huge waves came one after another. The Vermilion Emperor turned from a big goblin to a human form. After absorbing the demon god's wrath, he turned and knelt before Su Fong. The enemy has retreated. It's good that they left. If they didn't, I reckon the abundant, lush continent wouldn't give me a good time to eat either. The two great factions came with great confidence, but they were defeated and left my city. In the future, they won't be able to easily kill their way into the spirit mist world. Just the merchant factions they have in the abundant, lush continent are not worth mentioning. He absorbed the Vermilion Emperor and all the junior commanders into his body. The three of them flew into the air and controlled the boundary of the training ground. Soon, it returned to normal. Li Zuching sighed and said, "You can be at ease for a while and manage your forces in the spirit mist world. That's not certain. Sister Yu hasn't returned yet. If she does, it must mean that the great Emperor Dipper has made his move. At that time, we will have to help the Divine Sect deal with the great Emperor Dipper. Without the Divine Sect's help, it's impossible to establish our forces. We should repay the Divine Sect's kindness. Cultivate and strive to reach the feather transformation realm as soon as possible. At that time, you won't need anyone to help you. No one in this small world can stop you." The few of them chatted for a while and immediately returned to the boundary. As soon as they returned, Su Fong took out the rune talisman. Yu Yingying transmitted her thoughts. The Celestial Sealing Sect and the Zuan Pavilion planned to destroy your merchant association first and then attack you from both sides. However, I didn't let them succeed. How are you going to thank me? So direct. Su Fong was startled and immediately replied, "Thank you, my lady. I can only speed up the process of refining pills to report to you. I don't know if you have any other requests." Su Fong will definitely agree. "You have already said your request. Consider it as you owe my great continent a favor. You will repay it in the future." The rune talisman returned to silence. Yu Yingying has indeed done me a huge favor this time. Otherwise, with such a huge commotion, the rich, lush continent would have intervened long ago. She first helped me establish the Merchant Association and then helped me resolve the conflict between the two major powers. She is clearly helping me. I do owe her a huge favor. After settling down, Wang Zhong hid in the Water Realm. It was not the time to relax. Wu-Tan Realm, Green Lotus Sword Sect. This was the most powerful cultivation sect in this small world. There were layers upon layers of formations in the dojo, and there were layers upon layers of space inside. In the deepest core dojo, as an elder, Qing Feng was receiving a few disciples. These disciples had serious expressions on their faces, and it was obvious that they had something important to report to Elder Qing Feng. One of the disciples bowed and said, "Elder, we've been searching everywhere all these years, but we still haven't found the cultivator who killed our sect's Elder Qing Yang." Another person said, "Because of this matter, we were unable to capture Yang soul cultivators, as well as some poison refiners. Some of them came from the sects of 8 directions, while a few of them were loose cultivators. Because of this, many forces were dissatisfied with us." Elder Qing Feng swept his gaze across the group. "Didn't you use your senses and interrogations to identify the majority of the people here and release them? Those powers want an explanation. Who dares to ask for an explanation? Let them come to my sect if they want an explanation. They're the number 1 major force. How can they be led by the nose by these small forces? As the saying goes, everyone kicks a man when he is down. My sect will stay in the Wu-Tan boundary forever. They will not be able to do anything. We know what to do. Unfortunately, There isn't much information about that person, and we haven't heard of the divine image Jade Annulus appearing anywhere. In fact, as long as the divine image Jade Annulus spreads, we will be able to find that person. Send more spies to the surrounding small worlds to find out if there are any geniuses or experts who can use Tao artifacts in recent years. Elders wise. If you obtain the divine image Jade Annulus, a Tao artifact will definitely be used. No matter how it is hidden, even if no one knows that it is the divine image Jade Annulus, people will know that it is a Tao artifact. At that time, as long as we investigate carefully, we will be able to confirm whether it is the divine image Jade Annulus or not. We will take our leave. After some discussion, they left the hall. Just as Elder Qingfeng was about to seal the barrier, a white feather-like token on his waist suddenly moved. He grabbed a door and stepped into it, disappearing from the hall. In the blink of an eye, the door opened, and another hall appeared in front of him. It was more than 10 times bigger than Elder Qingfeng's palace, and there were already more than 20 people in the hall, all of them elders. There were 5 elders at the top, standing above all the elders below. They were clearly the current Grand Elders of the Green Lotus Sword sect. 5 Grand Elders, as expected of a large force. Elder Qingfeng sat down in an empty seat. During this time, more than 10 elders arrived one after another. Welcome back, Sword Elder. The 5 Grand Elders suddenly stood up and condensed a throne in the center. They brought along more than 30 elders and bowed to the throne together. Whoosh! A white-robed elder appeared on the throne. He nodded and said, "Everyone, sit down." All the elders bowed. "Thank you, Sword Elder." After everyone returned to their seats, the black-robed Sword Elder said, "I am only here to tell everyone that our Green Lotus Sword sect will welcome a peerless powerhouse. Although he is not a member of our sect, he has a good relationship with our sect's ancestors a long time ago, and has also protected our sect." All the elders sucked in a breath of cold air. "Which senior?" Sword Elder smiled. "The master of 7-Star Demon Island." 7-Star Demon Island? How could there be a master? Our sect has also gone to 7-Star Demon Island countless times to gain experience and seize treasures. According to all the information we have, 7-Star Demon Island is just a natural danger zone. There is no expert there. That place is isolated from the world, and cultivators are very rare. 7-Star Demon Island in the Wutan boundary is just an ordinary natural danger zone. The elders were even more puzzled and curious after hearing this. They were clear about 7-Star Demon Island. It was just a natural danger zone. How could there be an expert controlling it? You can only see the outside of 7-Star Demon Island, but not the inside. The true secret of 7-Star Demon Island is only known to our sect's past sect masters and reclusive old antiques. This is our sect's biggest secret. Sword Elder looked at the 5 Grand Elders and said to an elder in a white robe embroidered with many lotus flowers, "Grand Elder Honglian, you pick 2 more elders. The 4 of us will immediately leave 7-Star Demon Island. Sect Master is also on the way. We must meet him halfway." The white-robed Grand Elder Hong Lian looked at Qingfeng and another middle-aged man. "Qingfeng and Qingtong. Let's go." Sword Elder stood up and stepped into a sudden door. Grand Elder Hong Lian, Elder Qingfeng, and another elder named Tong Tong met up and followed Elder Jian into the Door of Wonder. The door immediately left. I don't know what kind of great figure it is to make Sword Elder, who has been in seclusion for thousands of years, come out personally. Even the sect master is rushing over. It must be a peerless figure. Moreover, it is beyond our knowledge. The elders looked at each other. Even with their status, they were unable to figure out. That mysterious figure was indeed the biggest secret in the Green Lotus Sword sect. Wutan boundary, on a wasteland continent far away. A shuttling force wrapped around 4 figures and constantly shuttled into the depths. Sect Master is right in front. Inside were Sword Elder, Grand Elder Honglian, Qingfeng, and Qingtong. The strength of these 4 people was exceedingly high. Any one of them was a famous existence in the Wutan boundary. If the 4 of them joined forces, They could destroy any second-rate power. Another shuttling. As Sword Elder said, there was a young man floating in the clouds. It was a very young dark-skinned man. He had a green lotus leaf-like token at his waist. His collar and sleeves were embroidered with green lotuses. When he turned around, he was not even 30 years old. Returning to origin, he was the sect master and so young. He was definitely not a cultivator that had cultivated for thousands of years. He had cultivated his flesh and blood to the extreme. His lifespan was perfect, and his life force was abundant. This allowed him to maintain his appearance at the most youthful age of a human. Green Lotus Sect Master. An existence like him, other than the 6 lords of Rich Lush and the Sector Lord. No one could suppress him. The Green Lotus Gates Sect Master looked forward with his pure eyes. You're here. In a moment, Sword Elder brought Grand Elder, Qing Feng, and Qing Tong out. Green Lotus Sect Master bowed to Sword Elder. I have troubled you to come out of seclusion. Obviously, Sword Elder's seniority, cultivation time, and status were all higher than Green Lotus Sect Masters to receive a bow from the Sect Master. As soon as I sensed the movement of the ancient seal, I immediately contacted Sect Master. I didn't expect Sect Master to also receive the movement from the leader token. After Grand Elder Red Lotus led Qing Feng and Qing Tong to bow to Green Lotus Sect Master, Sword Elder walked a few steps to the front of the Sect Master. I also didn't expect this to be an ancient seal left behind by the Sect Masters. I thought the person inside was long gone. I didn't expect there to be movement. After Green Lotus Sect Master nodded, the 5 of them went to 7 Stars Demon Island together. Sect Master, I just checked a lot of secret books and learned that this senior is a senior that ascended from the Wu-Tan realm more than 100,000 years ago, 7 Stars Child. I also learned about the general situation of this senior from the Sect Master's token. He has always been hiding in the 7 Stars Demon Island to cultivate. He has a deep friendship with the ancestors of our sect, and has also protected the sect. The rule left behind by the ancestors is that if Senior 7 Stars descends to the minor world, everyone in the sect has to listen to his orders. As the 2 peerless figures talked, they walked out of the teleportation power. In front of them was 7 Stars Demon Island, which was floating in the water and shrouded in fog. Grand Elder Red Lotus sighed. I can't feel the aura of a powerhouse. Senior 7 Stars Child must be an immortal. Immortals also have a desolate body. We can't feel it. Let's slowly approach the depths of 7 Stars Demon Island. Everyone, be careful. Don't alarm that senior. After Green Lotus Sect Master gave the order, the 5 of them flew into the fog, in the depths of one of the central islands of 7 Stars Demon Island. Buzz, a graceful figure intertwined with starlight, easily flew over the island's rock layers and countless ancient formations. Then, it strangely appeared in the mysterious underground space that Yi Yun accidentally broke into in the past. This place was still hazy, but compared to the time when Su Feng stepped in, there were more ruins here. It looked very messy. The immortal aura emitted by the starlight figure immediately illuminated the underground space. It was originally an underground palace, but many places were covered in dust and couldn't be seen clearly. However, many places were now destroyed. In some places, there were also scattered immortal stones that belonged to the heaven-worshipping stone statue that were destroyed by the stone golem. The immortal light figure suddenly shouted, "Guardian Stone Golem, why haven't you woken up yet?" In the quiet underground palace, many rocks that looked like tree roots suddenly came to life. They began to squirm, and the rocks on the surface cracked and exploded. In the past, when Su Feng fought, the stone golem that was more than 20 zhang tall and had countless lotus totems on its body and hands and feet in the shape of lotus roots awoke. As soon as the stone golem saw the immortal light figure, it was so scared that its stone body began to soften. It shouted in fear, "Master, welcome back." Chi! Unexpectedly, an immortal light shot out from the mysterious figure and suddenly pierced through the stone golem's arms. Two. The 2 lotus root-shaped arms suddenly separated from the stone golem's body and fell to the ground with a loud bang. The stone monster also gradually shrank its body to the size of an adult. It then transformed into a black lotus robe and turned into a middle-aged, burly man with a large square face. Stone golems had arms thicker than waists. Seven-Star Child scanned the underground palace, and without moving at all, he already knew the situation in the underground palace like the back of his hand. The treasures have also been taken away by that brat. The stone golem explained, "At that time, my original body was shattered, and my clone couldn't gather power in time. So, everything was taken away by him. That brat also has amazing Earth-type abilities. That's because he has an Earth-type magic treasure that's close to a Tao artifact. Although it's not a Tao artifact, it's still very powerful. If it's fully activated, it can indeed surpass you. Now, I'll give you an Earth-type power from the Great World." With another flick of his finger, a beam of immortal light hit the stone golem's heart. Crystal clear veins suddenly appeared on his face, extending all the way to the soles of his feet. Then, his aura changed completely. Seven-Star Child looked at the central altar again. Although the Black Lotus true body was gone, it was still standing. He stared at the bottom of the altar. "You know the importance of the Origin Essence Stone. You didn't tell that brat where it was. The Origin Essence Stone is the essence of the Wu-Tan realm. Master didn't completely refine it back then. Such a treasure was used by Master to refine the Black Lotus clone. Of course, I know its importance. Rise." Seven-Star Child secretly channeled his magic power. Layers of restrictions instantly appeared on the altar, and they immediately shattered. The altar also began to collapse. After the collapse, a huge Origin Essence Stone appeared. There were some lotus totems on it. It was obvious that it was the Wu-Tan realm's Origin Essence Stone. I never thought of becoming the Wu-Tan realm's Realm Master. This Origin Essence Stone was only used to refine the clone. Now, it has lost its importance. Seven-Star Child sucked the Origin Essence Stone into his palm. "Follow me out." The two left the depths of the underground palace through the Door of Wonder. In the foggy sky above the Seven-Star Demon Island, Seven-Star Child and the stone golem appeared. At this time, a figure flew out from the fog in front of them. This figure was actually not affected by the Seven-Star Demon Island's natural barrier. This person was dressed in green. He was not affected by the natural barrier at all. If it were any other feather transformation realm cultivator, they would have been killed by the natural barrier. The green-clothed man revealed his face clearly. He was a middle-aged man in his 40s. He cupped his fists at Seven-Star Child. "Senior Seven-Star, I didn't expect to meet you again after more than 10,000 years." Seven-Star Child was stunned and sighed. "Yin Jun, you received your master's inheritance and became the Wu-Tan realm's Realm Master. It's a long story. After the man came, he sighed. Seniors should know that my master has decided to officially go to the great world. He is still the Realm Master. He ordered me to protect the small world here. He said that if he died, then the Origin Essence inheritance would be on me. I didn't expect that the Origin Essence seal would start to break after ascending tens of thousands of years. He died in the great world. Can you get his body and relics? Nothing. I guess my master died in a very distant great world. His death was very sudden, and he didn't have time to explain everything. No one can say for sure. When I ascended to the great world, I didn't know what kind of world it was or when I would die. Fortunately, I was able to come back alive after so many years. Since you're now the Realm Master, you should integrate with the Wu-Tan realm. Senior, do you have anything to do in the lower realm? If I can help, I will do my best. Someone broke into my dojo and stole a few of my treasures. I came to the lower realm to find this person. Lawless. One of my clones also died in that person's hands. Oh, Wu-Tan Realm Master didn't believe it. Before my master left, he told me not to enter Seven-Star Demon Island. I guess that this was a dojo left for Senior. Who is so bold? It means that he has some ability. I will use some time to sense this person. If he is in the Wu-Tan realm, it won't take long. But if he is a cultivator from another small world, it will take some time. A few disciples of Green Lotus Sword Sect are coming. Senior, it is not convenient for me to meet them. When you are free, please come to my dojo for a chat. Yes, Realm Master. Seven-star child politely watched Wu Tan Realm Master leave. Master, a small disciple by the Realm Master's side in the past, has become a Realm Master. The stone golem said sinisterly. In truth, Master can kill him and take the Wu Tan realm. Then you can use that small world to refine your clones. Seven-star child waved his hand, and the surrounding islands began to change positions with the water whirlpool. Shifting the stars, moving mountains, and filling seas were all methods he could use at this time. It was too shocking. Seven-star Demon Island was just a toy in his hands. Seven-star child smiled coldly. Refining a small world and truly fusing it into one's flesh and blood will take tens of millions of years. How many cultivators in this small world would be willing to spend that much time in this lowest level world? Fusing a world would mean going to a great world to become an immortal. With enough strength, fusing any world in the future won't be a problem. It's better to spend tens of millions of years cultivating to become an immortal than wasting time. After a few moves, the island from before disappeared. 5 figures just happened to fly over from the hazy clouds. They were none other than the Green Lotus Sect Master, Sword Elder, Red Lotus Great Elder, Qing Feng, and Qing Tong, the 5 peerless experts from the Green Lotus Sword Sect. The 5 also saw 2 people, especially Seven-star Child. They couldn't sense any cultivation from him. Grand Elder Hong Lian secretly asked Elder Jian, "Which senior is it?" "I'm not sure yet. Let's see his right hand." The 5 of them sped up, but before they could react, a gust of hazy nature power lifted them up and passed through the air. In the blink of an eye, they arrived in front of Seven-star Child and the stone golem. They were shocked. Green Lotus Sect Master bowed to Seven-star Child. "You are Senior Seven-star Child." Seven-star Child slowly raised his right hand. They could clearly see the 7-star totem on the back of his hand. Green Lotus Sect Master was pleasantly surprised. "Junior is the current Sect Master of Green Lotus Sword Sect. Your cultivation is not bad. Green Lotus Sword Sect should be the #1 force in the Wu-Tan realm aside from the Realm Master's forces. Senior, our sect is currently the #1 cultivation force in the Wu-Tan realm. Just now, I slightly released my immortal nascent soul to sense the Green Lotus Sword Sect. I found that only one of the spirit tablets of the leaders who ascended in the past 100,000 years has immortal chi. That means that of the experts who ascended in the past, only one of them has become an immortal and survived. Counting from the time Senior ascended, there were dozens of seniors who ascended. When they first went to the Great World, they would occasionally send their aura to the spirit steels they left behind. Then it became less and less. In the past tens of thousands of years, only one spirit steel left behind by a senior still has immortal chi. It's already good that one of them survived. Many ascenders were burned to death by the natural and natural dangers of the Great World when they just went to the Great World. It's not easy to survive, and it's even harder to become an expert. Furthermore, the Great World is incomparably huge. Each ascension force will bring the ascender to a different time and space. Even experts who ascended from the same small world will find it difficult to meet each other in the Great World. Seven-star Child thought for a moment. The Green Lotus Sect Master said, "Your strength hasn't reached the peak yet. This time, I'll help you pass the last stage and become an immortal. Then, I'll lead you to the Great World with me, lest you ascend alone and fall in those corners." Thank you, Senior." The Green Lotus Sect Master immediately bowed 90 degrees. However, he begged again, "Senior, my sect still has a few elders who have already reached the height of ascension. Can you? It depends on whether there's enough time." If there's enough time and energy, then it's convenient. Who asked me to protect Green Lotus Sword Sect back then? Now, lead me to Green Lotus Sword Sect. I want to find a mortal cultivator. When I find this child, I'll definitely skin him alive. Yes, Senior. The 5 Green Lotus Sword sect experts lined up on 2 sides. With 7-Star Child as the lead, they flew away from 7-Star Demon Island together. Zhuotian Realm, Immortal Sealing Sect. Huang Lingyao's dojo. That's what happened. I didn't expect Su Fong to be so strong. Senior Marshal's sister. If Junior Marshal brother wasn't slower, he would have also been killed by the Big Goblin's Tao artifact. He actually killed thousands of experts from our 2 great forces alone. A disciple was standing in the hall, sweating like beans. He was reporting to Huang Lingyao everything that happened in the rich continent of the Spirit Mist world. Lan Haicheng was also listening at the side. From time to time, his spiritual eyes would surge with astonishment. I thought Su Fong had already become a stray dog and would find a corner to hide in for the rest of his life. I didn't expect him to establish himself in the Spirit Mist world. After Huang Lingyao heard this, she gave the male disciple an empty bag and beat him up. Chapter 600. After the male disciples left, only Huang Lingyao and Lan Haicheng remained. Lan Haicheng remained silent and respected Huang Lingyao. I don't know why, but when I heard the news, I was very happy. I guess Prince Shui can't sit still anymore. Huang Lingyao waved her hand, and all the formations changed. The 2 of them appeared in the garden. Butterflies fluttered, and the scenery was charming. It was an intoxicating world of beauty. She asked Lan Haicheng to sit down again. This time, we went out to train for decades. Not only did the 3 of us reach the Ascension Realm, but so many things happened in the sect when we came back. I even wanted to control Su Fong and use him to deal with Prince Shui, eliminate Sheng Changsheng, and help me become the leader of the Celestial Sealing Sect. The Celestial Sealing Sect's origin is a huge treasure trove that can help me become an immortal. The world is unpredictable. Of course, the main thing is that Su Fong is too shrewd. He actually hid the secret of the Xinjia Gate and wanted to get the Tao item to become the leader of the Celestial Sealing Sect. His actions were superfluous, and now he reaped what he sowed. He even lost the Venerable One disciples. I thought he was finished. I didn't expect him to make a comeback in the Lingmeng realm. Not only did he establish the Sky Crossing Sect, even the popular impotence pill in the Zhuotian realm is related to him. The Sky Crossing Association and the Sky Crossing Chamber of Commerce. He only dares to go against the Celestial Sealing Sect because he has a backer. Huang Lingyao muttered to herself and suddenly raised her voice. Haicheng, you were with him for a while. Didn't you notice these abnormalities? Lan Haicheng's body tensed up. Senior apprentice sister, it's just that although he was training outside and looked very ordinary, he was always able to turn the tide at the crucial moment. You should cultivate well and try to reach the Ascension realm as soon as possible. It's difficult to break through the catastrophe realm every time. Once you reach the Ascension realm, your Tao body, Yang soul, and overall strength will change greatly. I just heard the elders say that Prince Shui is asking the sect to help him fuse with the Tianhu spirit tree in the Tianhu realm. I think the sect will agree. After all, many elders are secretly helping the Crown Prince faction. Senior apprentice sister, do you have a plan to deal with Prince Shui? Actually, Prince Shui is terrifying, but that Sheng Changsheng has always been hiding his strength. I feel that the latter is more difficult to deal with. However, I absolutely cannot let Prince Shui have his way. The Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree is born from the Zhuotian realm source energy. If he really obtains it, with Prince Shui's ability, he will definitely become the Zhuotian realm's world overlord. If he becomes the world overlord, there will only be one outcome for me. I will become his concubine and be played by him for the rest of my life. Lan Haicheng's eyes glinted. He was unwilling to give up, as if he could kill a feather transformation realm cultivator just like that. At the same time, in the core dojo, Prince Shui's palace. As soon as he returned, he ordered the members of the Crown Prince Society to keep quiet. He sat cross-legged alone in the depths of the palace. He sat there cross-legged for several days. Slowly, a mysterious thought came out from his forehead. If you do as I say, You will definitely become an immortal sooner and enter the great world. What's the use of wasting your energy on becoming the world overlord of a minor world? You might as well become an immortal. With great power, you can go to the great world and become the world overlord of the great world. I have my own plans. Becoming a world overlord is already possible. Don't you think that after becoming a world overlord, with the protection of the world overlord, going to the great world will be safer? All world overlords have the power of the world. Regardless of whether in a minor world or a great world, they all control the power of the world. I'm just giving you a suggestion. What you want to do is your own business. The mysterious voice disappeared from his forehead. Prince Shui returned to his normal state. His gaze slowly settled. At this time, the seal on the main hall disappeared. Shuelong, the crown prince, and the other experts of the Crown Prince Society stepped into the main hall. This time, I didn't kill Su Fong in the spirit mist world. In truth, I didn't want to kill him. He is very useful to me. Send down the order. Send people to the Fertile Continent to secretly monitor Su Fong's every move. After the order was given, only Shuelong remained. Prince Shui specially ordered Shuelong personally go to the Heavenly Gourd world and activate the secret room I left behind. There will be experts coming to the Zhuotian world. You will receive them in the secret room. It's the experts of the Shenyuan Empire. Shuelong was extremely excited. Yes, they have fulfilled their promise. The Great Emperor Dipper will lead experts to the Zhuotian world to help me obtain the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. The Shenyuan Empire is a major power in the Star River. With their help, Ancestor will definitely be able to get what he wants. They have other motives for coming to the Zhuotian world. They want me to fully cooperate with the Shenyuan Empire to obtain the Xinjia Gate. Otherwise, they will be kind enough to help me fuse with the Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree. They still want to obtain the Xinjia Gate. The Shenyuan Empire is already so powerful. If they obtain the legendary Xinjia Gate, wouldn't it be, if they really obtain the Xinjia Gate, they will definitely conquer the small worlds and eventually suppress the Zhuotian world, becoming the major power of this Star River. The fragment of the human emperor's bright wheel that he protected allowed Boss to obtain the human emperor world's inheritance. After Dao Wuliang finished speaking, Su Fong immediately activated the rune talisman. First, he sent a telepathic message to Sister Yu. Then, Li Zuqing and Li Haojie came to the main hall. When Li Zuqing heard the reason, he immediately slammed the table and said, "Just go back. Leave this place to me. There are so many experts in the sect. Even if the Zuan Pavilion and the Celestial Ceiling sect come again, they won't be able to gain anything." With such a big shot and the sect's experts, he naturally wasn't worried. Su Fong said, "Thank you, Senior. If Sister Yu comes back, let her secretly watch the Great Emperor Dipper's movements. I estimate that in a few years, I'll be back from the Zhuotian world. Protecting your family is the most important." Li Zuqing understood. Then, he and Li Haojie watched the three disappear into the water. In order to save time, Su Fong changed his appearance and went to the rich, lush continent with Dao Wuliang and Shu Shui. They used the portal to rush to the Zhuotian world. In a few days, the three of them arrived at the Zhuotian world. As soon as they arrived in the sky, Su Fong used the instant space ring. With the speed of the instant space talisman, the three of them went from the ruins of the spirit sect where the supreme god sect was located to the Crimson Heaven continent. Chapter 601. They flew all the way across the vast water region and arrived at the familiar Crimson Firmament continent. Soon, they arrived above Sword Pole City. Ahead of them was the Broken Sword Sect's territory. As they flew past Sword Pole City, Su Fong seemed to recall the time when he, Xiao Mei and Dao Wuliang finally arrived at Crimson Firmament continent and entered Sword Pole City. Dark Forest, in less than 5 minutes. The three came from the ruins of the Spirit Sect to the deep south of Crimson Firmament continent. After passing Sword Pole City and Broken Sword Sect, They arrived at the land of darkness that Su Fong and Dao Wuliang were extremely familiar with. Dark Forest. Not only the two of them knew about the Dark Forest, but the entire Zhuotian domain knew of its existence. No one knew its secret. Qi. The three were forced to stop in front of the Dark Forest. The Dark Forest released a strange power that split the crimson firmament continent in half. The black clouds from the Dark Forest swept across the sky and would not disperse no matter what. They covered the sky and earth, blocking the southern border continent in a corner. Dao Wuliang said, "Boss, we can go around the Dark Forest and enter the southern border from the left and right water regions." My Dao mother did that. Su Fong was too anxious to see his family. I have the instant space ring. With such a treasure, passing through the Dark Forest will not be difficult. I was able to do it once before, and I will definitely be able to do it this time. Furthermore, we are no longer the weaklings from before. With my speed, we do not need to enter the depths of the forest. We can directly pass through the black clouds at the highest point. All right, we will enter the Dark Forest that everyone in the Zhuotian domain calls a forbidden area. Xu Shuai was even more excited than Su Fong. Let's go. The three of them activated their speed and flew into the black clouds from the Dark Forest side by side. Swish! Swish! Xu Shuai exclaimed. How can the Dark Forest affect such a high level of natural power? Could it be that there's a hidden array here? Let me sense it. Su Fong immediately activated the divine image Jade Annulus and released his Great Circle ability, raising his vision to the extreme. As he continued to look, he saw layers upon layers of formations in the depths of the dark clouds. They were not obvious, but they could still be seen. The divine image Jade Annulus also appeared in the divine aperture. Master, this world is shackled by a powerful world power. To be more specific, I also saw some profound formations that were faintly discernible within the clouds. The divine image Jade Annulus was a Tao artifact. Its sensing ability was incomparable to that of a supreme powerhouse. Human cultivators and giants were unable to see through this dark forest. But in front of a Tao artifact, this wasn't necessarily a secret. Swish! Swish! It silently swept past the experts and the surrounding black clouds. Yor immediately replied, "Master, these experts are puppets controlled by runes. They're all dead. These are high-level puppets controlled by life lamps. The life lamps are in their left atrium, where the heart is. I also know about life lamps, but I've never seen high-level puppets controlled by life lamps. Life lamps are specially refined. Not every cultivator can refine them. Only those with peerless sealing techniques and suitable materials can refine them. Their rune drawing skills are also very shocking. Even the elders of those large factions can't do it. Master, as long as you strike the heart of the puppet with your sword, you will be able to shatter the life lamp. Without the life lamp, they're all dead." I understand. Dao Wuliang Xu Shuai. He immediately reported the news to the two big goblin. The three of them were very surprised. They didn't expect that the strong enemies they were facing were all puppets. But they were also very shocked. If even the puppets had such strength, then just how strong was the master of the Dark Forest? Instant spatial ring. Since he understood the enemy's strength, he used even more methods. Su Fong used even more techniques. He activated the instant space ring, and the origin source magic treasure in his hand displayed astonishing speed. Moreover, his aura wasn't restricted by the Dark Forest restrictions. That was because he also had world energy in his body. It was currently fusing with his aura and controlling the surrounding energy. Chi! Boom! Under the strange flickering of the sword, the edgeless sword pierced through the back of one of the puppets. A blood-colored lamp was also shattered by the heavy sword. With another flash, 5 fingers reached out and crushed the other puppet's heart. Even the life lamp was destroyed. They have some skills. Not only that, I've just received news that one of them, a human and a beast, came to the forest 100 years ago. In the end, They broke the seal left behind by Master and released a portion of the sealed demonic will of the single-horned demon Venerable. The devil will? Because a strange yang appeared in the world changed. Master wasn't there at the time, so the seal loosened, allowing a portion of the devil will to escape. Later on, this human and demon accidentally broke the seal and released a portion of the single-horned demon Venerable's demonic will. Until now, we still haven't captured it. They probably escaped from the forest. Since these two have violated the forest before, we can't let them escape. Below the forest, those mysterious figures began to form hand seals again after communicating with each other. And in the sky, the divine image, Jade Annulus, discovered something and hurriedly warned, Master, there's a shackling intent coming from below. There's probably another expert activating some formation. Master, take this opportunity to fly away. All right, let's go. The three of them used their strength at the same time to push back the remaining dozen experts. With Su Fong fully activating the instant spatial ring, the three of them were much faster than those puppets. When the storm swept across, the 100 or so evil sect's disciples were cut into pieces, let alone their corpses. Large amounts of poisoned flesh and blood scattered on the ground. Many forests were instantly corroded by the poison and turned into ruins. So powerful, some evil sect's disciples immediately fled back into the formation. After a few breaths, a large number of evil sect's disciples flew out from the other side. There were at least 500 of them. Where are you going? But on the other side of the sky, Su Fong walked out of the void like the ruler of this world. Without activating any movement, he blocked the evil sect's disciples in front of him. You dare to make an enemy of the Night Spirit sect? A thin expert wearing a long black cloak walked out of the evil sect's disciples. Su Fong saw this person and realized something. Why wouldn't I dare to make an enemy of the Night Spirit sect? You should be the altar master of this Night Spirit sect. You know me? The man was very surprised. It's not that I know you, but there were people like you in the Night Spirit sect who died in my hand in the past. Of course I know. You. The man could tell that Su Fong was laughing at him. It was as if he had been slapped in the face. He was so angry that his evil aura began to explode. Bang! At this moment, his body was suddenly sealed by an invisible distortion in space. Countless evil sect's disciples were caught by the spatial finger before they could react. Chi! Space trembled and moved in front of Su Fong. The man was suppressed in front of Su Fong. The man couldn't move at all. Who are you? In the southern border, other than the fox race, there are no experts like you. Could it be the Dark Forest? How many hearts have you collected here? You. I said I know the Night Spirit sect very well. Don't play dumb in front of me. Since you know the Night Spirit sect, you should also know that my Yuan spirit and body are both controlled. I will never be able to regain my freedom unless the Night Spirit sect's emissary gives me back my freedom. I understand what you mean. I can't help you. Sorry. Crack. Just as Su Fong revealed a cold expression, the man's head was twisted off. His head shook, and an evil rune forcibly squeezed the young nascent soul out of his head. An unfamiliar voice exploded from the rune. You dare to kill my altar master? Just you wait. I won't let you go. You will face an unimaginable killing intent. You won't be able to escape even if you run to the ends of the world. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, the rune and the young nascent soul exploded. The blood wraith true devil appeared next to Su Fong. After taking the man's empty pouch and the seal in his body, he handed the corpse over to Gue. He also ordered him to kill several hundred evil cult members. These people were all alive, but they were all walking corpses.